So how does this week go?
Yeah, it went all right. Played a lot of Death Stranding.
Oh, I was referring to the podcast.
Oh, what do you mean? How does this week go then? I don't understand the question.
How is this podcast going to go?
Oh, usually we blah 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 about what we've been doing with our weeks, and then usually we blah 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 about the news to some degree, and then usually we read a couple emails, one or two of which are like really good, and one always has a really good question that we don't have any answers for because it requires a lot of forethought.
Yep.
And we're like, that's an amazing question. I have nothing for you. And you're like, oh, that's probably really unsatisfying to listen to.
Could be.
Why? How do you think the podcast is going to go this
Pretty
week?
much
Willie?
exactly that.
Oh, okay. I thought there was a gimmick waiting for me.
No. Not much to it.
Did you watch Ride with Norman Reedus?
I did not.
This week.
Did you?
No, but I'm going to.
He says as he cracks it open.
Cracks open what, Wooly?
That's a monster.
That's a chemical purple monster.
That's
my name for it.
It's not a Guru and it's not a Red Bull.
The purple ones are pretty great.
Did you try the rehab?
I haven't found it.
Okay. Check your dep.
Yeah. At a dep near you. So what's up with you, man?
This week I didn't do that much in terms of
I felt this.
actions to bring to the podcast because there's a lot of life things happening. In particular, it's just it was back-to-back busyness followed by moving into business. So I played some more Naruto and I got to some meaty, hefty plot dumps.
I saw what might have been the weirdest Twitter update from you on that ever, which was, hold on a second, guys, we're finishing watching the anime. Which is this is...
I have homework.
This is a weird process.
Every time I play Nuns 3, I got...
Oh, that's terrible.
That's what it is, though.
Holy shit.
I'm playing the Nuns games. So Nuns 3, full burst. Full burst Nuns.
All right,
that's out of the way.
All right, we're done. Great. Good.
So
we can half-ass the rest of the podcast.
Wonderful. That's all we're here to do, actually. So, ever since, the second game, we've pretty much been trying to see. It's okay, what can I watch and enjoy the
Naruto.
The game's narrative version of, and then what is there that has to be seen in the anime form,
right?
Because anyone who's super in there that's a massive fan is going to tell you nah, you gotta go back and read it and or watch it. And I'm content to miss all the shit that's not immediately relevant to the questions that I have.
So I have a big question for you. When you said back in, I want to say 8-9 years ago now, and then you said it every year since.
Is that how that went?
Yeah, that's
down?
how it works in my mind.
Yeah, is that the timeline?
I have a long.
I said back in 9 years ago, and then every year since I've said back in.
I have a long history of giving you or you giving me.
Because if you're about to ask me a question based on the name of my LP franchise,
no, give me a minute. I'm building a fucking thing here.
You're building a bit.
Something. Yeah,
you're building a bit. All right, construct the bit.
So every 2-3 weeks, you'd be like, Naruto, man, but I'm back in, and that was like that the whole time I've known you.
Yep.
I thought, no, but for real though, when you said back in the Naruto series, I thought that meant that you had caught up to and finished reading the manga.
Yeah, that's silly.
And it was done when you said that. It had ended.
No.
Or it ended shortly thereafter.
No, it was just the name of an LP in which I was going from a life of zero Naruto consumption,
right, to any Naruto consumption,
to any percent Naruto consumption, which is the games.
So you were learning the Narutos from the Nuns?
I'm learning from Nuns, and I'm going into the anime wherever Nuns aren't enough. So anytime I end up with questions, for example, there'll be a fight, right?
Yeah.
And then for example, Kisame fights Killer B.
Sure.
Okay, so there's a fight that goes down in the game, and then you control one of those two characters,
Right.
and then you just beat up on the other one using the game system.
Uh-huh.
Now, despite the fact that at the time it was like, yo, look at this gorgeous like 3D maneuvering like anime fighter, it's still a super basic combat system.
Oh, yeah.
Where you mash like either tilt up, tilt down, or neutral tilt combos.
Yeah, it's a game for babies.
And they added a couple of things like chakra dash canceling, but it's really not that complex. And anything that people go, oh, do the fancy thing. The fancy thing is like a slightly less like similar combo to the one you already did. Right?
Nice.
And if you get a chance to, you can stand still, power up like a Dragon Ball game, and then hopefully like don't get hit with kunai, and then do the powered up attack and hit the thing, and then the big cinematic goes off, right?
Right.
Then you get the CyberConnect money, hopefully.
Yeah.
But sometimes the CyberConnect money is not there, right? So what they did is they have it like so certain major legacy fights are very expensive and treated to be like go through phases in the same way that the anime did, for example. But there's a couple of them where they just throw it in the engine and call it a day. And those ones are like usually where what you'd miss out on is like if you just beat up on Kisame for a while, you don't get to see like him going full power like you do in the anime.
And the sword bites you.
Right. So for example, I always liked him, right? I always thought he was
I thought Kasame was cool.
He's one of the dude,
like a fish man.
Kisame and Zabuza are dope.
They're cool.
7 Swordsmen of the Mist, 2 of them so far so good. The others maybe not so much.
Maybe never. Who knows?
I know.
Oh, you know?
Maybe not so much.
Okay.
But those 2 are strong. And not just strong, but also strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so you don't get to see like what happens when this character goes all out, right? And so Kisame is a character that's also been presented as like a mystery. He's just hanging out with Itachi. He's really powerful. He's got a sword that's all fucked up, but wrapped up in a bandage, and it eats chakra. And you're like, okay, so what
bites you? Yeah,
what's up with this thing? You know, and you see a little bit more of it when he fights Team Guy.
Yeah,
and so on, but you don't actually get to, you know, the meat of like, okay, what's his deal?
Yeah.
So that's a fight where if you just play the game version, you're not going to be satisfied with it. But in the show, you get to see his full deal.
Yeah.
He unwraps the sword, he pulls the coat off, and he goes for it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, cool, right? This is what I wanted all along. Street Sharks. That's what I wanted.
Was it worth it?
Yeah, it was super worth it.
Okay.
And then
I don't believe you.
I was totally worth it. And in the end, I was like, yeah. I'm glad I like that character because that's a cool villain.
Wait, I thought the Akatsuki were good actually.
It's so complicated. It's so complicated. That's stupid. That's a stupid thing to say, but it's not because I understand that it's anyway. It gets How about this? Right? There's different arcs.
Oh, I hate this.
And the further the arcs go, the more convoluted all the details get.
Wait, do you know like the end of the Naruto? What happens?
No, but there's stuff that through osmosis I can't possibly not know.
Because I know how it ends.
Yeah, but when you say that, you can either mean in terms of the one panel of how it ends, or you can
I mean like the last couple chapters.
Okay,
This is the big bad, and they're
I
bad
know.
because...
I know. I don't know here. Like, there's a bunch of floating facts that you couldn't avoid over time.
Yeah.
Right. I know, like who or what is involved. I know what is done.
It's magic.
And then I know like a couple of other like floating supplemental details.
This is weird.
But I don't know the specifics of how you get to those points.
So here's a question. Are there Naruto games that are all the way to the end yet?
Do you still care about what you asked me? Or?
Yeah, no, I heard what you just said.
Okay. So
then I ask like, well, if you're going by this and you don't know how it goes, then are there games that go all the way up to the end?
Yeah, you go through Nuns 3, then you go through Nuns 4, and if you feel like it, you can do Nuns Revolutions, Boruto to Naruto, Striker. No, you don't have to do any of that nonsense. Once we do 4, in theory, that's the end, and then whatever after that, I suppose. But
and then you can move on to the One Piece games.
And then I can move on to the One Piece games. But yeah, this is like one of those bits where I'm like, look, I obviously the best way to consume this is it's like you can just sit down and read it, or you can go through like Kai, right, which is like the edited for time versions of the episodes. I
took a look at the Kai stuff. It's all fan edited. It's not real.
One episode, one volume.
It was like this entire arc, the entire Sasuke retrieval arc in like 90 minutes. And I'm like, oh my God.
Satisfying.
Holy shit. There were so many slow pans and I don't know the secret of his power.
Yeah. So I have curiosities, right? I have inquiries in my head as to how things play out in this Nalt world. And they're not so pressing that I would need to interrupt my normal day-to-day life and solve these questions.
Solve the mystery.
Solve the mysteries.
The mist of Naruto.
Right? But they're funny enough that I'm willing to solve them on camera with everybody in the form of an LP. So that is the answer as to why don't you just go through it the other way. I'm like, because I don't care that much.
Well, no,
I care enough to LP
it. Wasn't why not go through the other way. It was like I thought you had already, because like.
No, the reasons why I tapped out maintain.
Okay.
That has not changed.
Pacing.
I'm out.
But you're back in.
I know. But I'm out personally. I'm back in for business reasons.
This is awful.
For the purposes of doing it on camera for funsies with everybody and having that little, like, you know, follow through is funny. It's legitimately hilarious. I will put on a million stupid cosplay outfits and record as many green screen intros as necessary.
How do you...
For the purposes of the hilarity of discovering what happened. But the truth of the matter is, I'm not going to spend my real time. Man, are you fucking crazy? I'm going to sit there and read through that and not like try to catch up on JoJo Leon or Vinland Saga or something else that actually seems up my alley.
Don't you have that burning question into how Sasuke turns it around with Sakura so they end up in the future together?
Yes, especially now that question is more garbage than ever. Since you know how the whole time you've been watching this, you're like, well, at least he's one of those he's a garbage shitty villain that's embracing the dark side, but he still doesn't have the body count.
Yeah.
Because I talk a bit about that when it comes to
so evil,
villains,
but he doesn't. He's just kind of brooding.
He's just hanging on the wrong side, right? And that's how you always know. You're just like, you can still swing him back around.
Yeah.
The author doesn't want you to write him off completely, right? And you always are, when you're waiting to see, are you going to have a moment where it's like, well, that was self-defense, that was a technicality, and that was a person that was way more evil
than you.
So in the end, it's fine.
Yeah.
Right? But then you're waiting for your moment of like, wait, you killed them all, especially the younglings.
Yeah. And you're like...
And that kind of happens.
Oh,
where you
nice.
go, oh, you're gone. You hit the point of no return.
No, it's...
So knowing that the world warps its way back around to make things okay is like triple fucked at this point. Because I'm like, but that's the point where you write this character off.
Do you know the stuff about Orochimaru and like Bort and all that crap?
No.
It's the funniest thing ever.
I don't know anything about that.
Do you mind if I tell you?
I might get there.
Okay.
At this point. So leave it alone.
It's bad.
Well, yeah, probably. I believe it.
It's really bad.
I believe it.
Oh, did Naruto have another son who died? Is my favorite screen capture of any anime ever.
I've never seen that.
You've never seen it?
No.
It's Naruto sitting with Boruto at that fucking ramen shop, and Naruto looks to his right, and there's like a memory after image of himself sitting at the ramen shop alone, and some guy threw it up going, did Naruto have another son who died? Sorry, no, did Boruto's dad have another son who died?
That's goofy
and
shit.
It's, oh, I can't.
Well, anyway, yeah, so we're, working my way through it, and came up on a Revelaton. Because that's how these stories tend to work, and there's these like triggers for big plot dump moments. So we get a 45-minute cutscene.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay.
In Nuns 3, and you're like, this real, and it's like, okay, well, this better be a big deal. It's like, oh yeah, it was a big deal. Yeah.
This is just 2 anime episodes? Just done in engine?
I mean, might as well be, right? But anyway, so in going back through it and catching on to like episodes of the show as well, like just fast forwarding through some bits, there's some good shit you want to see, you want to see those fights, you want to see the details of like what happened in this actual fight, how'd that go down, and some stuff remains. What are you showing me here? You're handing me a phone. Boruto's dad. Dead son? Boruto. Yeah, that's confusing. Okay. Well, anyway. And so you're going through some stuff. You're going through it. And, like, what I am absolutely enjoying is, like, the shit that I never wrote off. The shit that I liked even when I quit it is still there. And I'm like, okay, so... There's like all these little action moments you're like, yeah, let's go find out the details of that. But then there's moments like, can we stop this to go and watch the scene where all the other kids in the village that are not this fucking idiot get together and go, hey guys, fuck Sasuke, right?
Yeah.
And everyone's like, yeah, fuck that guy. And you just have a nice little round table like, okay, cool. So
Sasuke was never good to anybody ever.
It's a very reasonable approach to just be like, right, so ISIS bad, right?
Yeah.
ISIS bad?
ISIS bad. Bad.
Okay.
Bad.
We're all on the same page
You put
here.
the little rubber stamp on it.
All right, get your tears out, right? I know you had the hots for him.
Yeah.
But we gotta
You were 12.
Right, like just whatever, you know what I mean? But it's just like, we gotta go take out Bin Laden. So, like, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I know you want to win him back.
Chidori makes like a bird noise, and that's cool.
And I know that like you can't stop thinking about how you want to like bring him back and be his boyfriend, and that goes double for
you, Sakura.
No, I'm talking about. Oh yeah, exactly. There you go. I see. What
Hey,
there. Ba-bang. But
okay,
they
Hinata.
really. I'm like, yeah, let me stop this to go watch that. I need to see that type of scene. I need to see people who are not idiots talking, and I need to see Shikamaru.
See, I have a problem with that. My problem with that is that I feel that just, like, puts a spotlight on how fucking stupid the main character's reasons for everything are.
Yeah, that is my problem, and why I stopped the show. I mean, amongst many. But that's, yes. Yes, that is a problem. You're correct.
Like, hey, you're stupid.
You're pointing out at something that is...
You're so stupid that everyone else in your fiction is talking about how stupid you are.
Yes, and they're already up to date on what's going on. In fact, they're uncovering it as it goes, and you are slow on the uptake, but the shock moments are displayed at your speed as opposed to the speed of anyone who's not slow.
Yeah.
Right? Much less being faster. I don't want to just beat the dead horse again. We've had this conversation.
Are you saying Naruto sucks?
I'm saying that like it steps on my particular pet peeves for characters that are as smart as you, smarter than you, or dumber than you.
Are you saying that Naruto would be a way better series if Naruto fucking died and Shikamaru became the new main character?
No, it would have been a better series if Choji died when they indicated visually that he was dead, and then everyone would be like, oh, we lost a kid because of this asshole. Fuck the rest of this retrieval. So he's got blood on his hands now. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't... at that point, you're like, fuck this. Like, you're an asshole. You're a traitor, and we lost people. Well, fuck off.
Time to die.
And then the whole thing goes the other way around. Anyway, there's a million things that could have done it up better. But remember, never forget early on that we were like all on the same page of this is the cool new shonen anime that's learning from Dragon Ball's pacing mistakes. We were all on that page.
It used that learning to invent new pacing mistakes.
And then the money makes it very hard to not want to stall out as long as possible.
You know what's really great about Hero Academia? Mm-hmm. There's one filler episode, and it's a filler episode that after I had done watching it, I was like, that was filler? That episode rocked. It was the one with the Froppy and the fucking seal guy.
Froppy on the boat.
And it's like, oh, that was a great episode. That I'm glad because I really like that character.
Yeah.
Good. Awesome.
Now, I don't know if a baseball game or whatever circumstances would occur to fuck up the release schedule of things and make it so that, like, it would get bad for Macadamia. Mm-hmm. But, like, it is nice to know that at the very least, so far, they're sticking to it. But I have no faith in anything to not immediately shit the bed if either like some sort of event in Japan makes the schedule get all fucked up, or if they run out of chapters and don't know what to do. You know?
Just stop, please, God. The
Attack on Titan just stops. But they plan out episodes. They plan out seasons.
I remember
they don't keep it going in between.
I remember. I don't care. I'm going to tell the story again. Where everybody stopped watching Naruto at 134 because that's where you stop.
33.
No, 34 is the end of the fight.
Yeah, 33 is the fight. 34 is the end of the fight. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, it's the filler arc. And then it was a full 6 months of filler, and then a year of filler, and then 18 months of filler, and then 2 years of filler. And then they announced Shippuden, and it was like, gonna be the time skip. You're like, yeah.
Hard cut to Rock Lee carrying buckets of shit.
Yeah.
Hard cut to
fake Rock Lee.
Ostrich ninjas.
Yeah.
Hard cut to Mizuki, the first villain episode, Tiger Man.
Yeah.
Hard cut to the sword that looks like a lightning bolt.
Yeah.
From a dollar store Power Rangers ripoff toy. Like, it just...
And then it's like Shippuden's coming out. I remember, like, I'll watch that, and I remember I watched that before you. Because you had read a little bit of the post-time skip manga at that point.
No, I had kept reading.
Okay, so you were familiar with the post-time skip stuff.
Yeah,
you were telling me, yo, it gets really cool. This bug guy does cool stuff. Right? And I was like, okay, now I'm watching the anime. And I watched the first episode of the anime, and I'm talking about them with Kakashi in the training thing to show us how things have changed. And you looked at me like I was insane. You're like, what are you talking about? That doesn't happen. I'm like, yeah, it did. This, and then we discovered that the filler was no longer segmented away. It was now integrated fully.
Integrated filler.
And it was now worse than Dragon Ball ever was. Because it wasn't even like long pans and good music. It was like events that just fucking didn't happen.
So I can challenge that and say sometimes it's better because now it continues. And like the further we go into Shippuden, the more we hit this interlaced filler. And it's like, so we're looking at the same fight, but there's moments that you're like, wait, that did not happen in the book. They added it in, but they didn't make a filler arc. They just added episodes to this fight. Right? So, excuse me.
Sounds awful.
Min would point out, like, yeah, like, he's like, oh, yeah, that summon in the middle of that fight never happened.
Okay.
That character never summoned that beast and rode it around for a while. That attack never happened. You know what I mean? And so, like, it starts to get more elaborate in that way. Now, sometimes the thing they add ends up being cool. Sometimes it ends up being a waste of everyone's time. A lot of the time, it's not much. But CyberConnect also ends up doing this in the games. But they're doing it for style.
Yeah.
And they style in pretty good ways because that's what they're good at. So, like, you're like, oh, shit, that's a really cool thing that you added to this fight that nobody had seen before if you had already gone through multiple versions of this fight.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the fights are extended as opposed to the in between.
But
episodes.
doesn't that just create the problem of you're like 10 fights later and you're like, but Naruto did that in that fight. Why doesn't he just do that? He would win instantly. And the answer is because that thing didn't happen.
But that's less bad of a problem than we end at this high tension point where people are fucking almost dying or died, and then we have to go into stupid fucking butt fart hijinks.
Oh,
To then, you know what I mean? It's like we go like you don't want to have like the death of the third Hokage immediately followed by for like 3 episodes, and then what's the mystery of Guy's eyebrows, or what's the mystery of Kakashi's lips? And then we have to try and sneak around and find out what his face looks like. Oh, there are these big goofy lips. And then at the end of this goofball fucking section,
the funeral,
you cut back to the funeral.
Yeah.
You know? Like, you can't do that. Or you can, and it's the worst shit ever.
Attack on Titan doesn't have filler. And for all anyone's complaints about Attack on Titan, at least it doesn't have filler. So you can just sit down and you just watch it.
So, you know, and at the end of every arc, there's a moment like that of like, it's not quite like there's never a fine moment to drop the filler in, you know.
It's
they did do it in a couple places in current stuff where it's like, they're on a boat to an island. Well, guess what?
Yeah,
that fucking boat's not hitting that shore anytime soon. That's an easy one, you know. But sticking it in the middle of a fight is better than like after the tension has been strung as high as possible,
and neither are as good as just not.
So
I've been corrected. Apparently there are 2 Hero Academia filler episodes. The other one was the one with them at the pool, which, yeah, should have known that was a filler episode.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
But like, I don't know, Hero Acca has a really it has arcs where it's like, oh man, drama, and then it has arcs of like long stretches of just chilling at school, doing school crap.
Yeah,
so that's okay.
Then again, like, I remember when I was like, yeah, man, Bleach, there's no filler in that.
Get out! Bleach is nothing but filler.
For the first little while, there was none, and then eventually there was one filler arc, and it was a couple episodes long, like maybe 3. And it was like focusing on
man, dude,
Orihime and all that shit.
I fucking just out of like curiosity the other day, I was just like, I wonder. So I just typed in the phrase Aizen versus into YouTube and found like what I think was the second to last one, and he turns into like an alien.
Cool.
And he's like a featureless white like orb.
Perfect.
And I'm like, I don't want this. This is the worst. This is so bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I feel like some stories you can read almost backwards and like see how things were like laced along the way.
Yeah.
And like Shonen Jump is just not the place for you to go to where things end and take it from the beginning and be like, oh yeah, this was planned the whole time.
Like, there's a real I think that's really funny because there was this a picture going around, this tweet of like, oh, it's been a while, and it was a picture of Luffy from episode 1 of the anime to Luffy from the anime today, and he's like huge and buff, and he's got like a big scar, and he wears his hat around his back, and he's like, you know, okay, time has passed, right? And like, okay, that's like a normal thing. And I remember when I saw the poster for book 3 of the original Avatar, and what what Ikora looked like and what Aang looked like, and Sokka had the sword, and it was very different from book 1. And I'm like, okay, I see how. But then I looked at this shit with Bleach, and I'm like, some characters look identical and have not changed at all, and others are weird space aliens, and I'm just like, I can't.
Everyone seems adamant that One Piece goes against that rule. So that's nice to know.
One Piece is apparently very good. I wish the pacing on the anime was better.
You were hard in there for a while.
Watch 250. Watch 250, like, maybe 255.
You don't get to talk about One Piece with distance.
Wooly.
When you've seen that much of it.
250, whatever, That's nothing.
I know.
The show's infinity long.
But like when you say shit like I hear it's good, and I'm like, wait, hold on. You watched 250 episodes, and that qualifies you to say, oh yeah, I hear it's good.
There are 900 episodes, Wooly. There are 900 episodes.
Oh man, this is like
that's like me watching the first 3 episodes of a 26 episode anime and going, I hear it's good.
I know, but it's just it's insane because this is on some Gundam or Kamen Rider shit where it's like, oh yeah, I hear it's pretty cool, and it's like, what have you watched? And it's like, oh, only like 3 or 4 seasons or series. Each of those are 52 episodes, but you know,
I hear it's good.
You're still scratching the surface.
Yeah, no, that's the thing.
With your hundreds of fucking episodes investment, you know, that's
if I had all the mangas in English, I would read them. But like the idea of reading that many volumes on like a screen is not appealing. It's just not.
I mean, I got used to it early on with JoJo, but. Yeah.
Well, I did that with Berserk, and I did that with various parts of JoJo, but even that's like a weekend, whereas One Piece is not a weekend. It's your whole fucking month.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, does it feel, though, at least like... Again, is there any part of it where it is posturing for time? Or is it just, like, quality?
Talking about One Piece?
Through? Yeah.
One Piece has large filler arcs.
Okay.
Like, and
because for the way people like talk about how really good it is, it's really exciting to hear that something can go for this long and be good. And I guess I just kind of wonder, I'm like, but there's no way that you can't see moments of it being like, okay, we're fooling for time.
There are large filler arcs.
You got to see through the cracks.
There are large filler arcs in general, and then also in non-filler arcs, the pacing is such that you're often seeing flashbacks of stuff that happened within the episode.
Okay.
Because it's like, we really want to do Chopper's story right now, the little reindeer guy. Mm-hmm. But like, there's not much here. So have a flashback to the thing his dad said to him once an episode about being a doctor. I
mean, if you've got a story that is just like, yo, this is gonna take. Like if it's like, yeah, if you're making an anime that was I don't know, Harry Potter or George R. Martin, right? Like then you have that much lore in your head. You're just gonna start working through it and get there when you get there. But so many other shows definitely feel like they're making it up as they go along. That like, yeah, One Piece appears to be like a definite exception that I hear consistently over the years.
Yeah, and people are yelling at me in chat like, the anime is like half filler, like episode to episode or arc to arc, and definitely you'd sit down and watch like 5 episodes and be like, you could have done this in 1. So I watched 250, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah, I hear it's good. Because I really feel like I only watched like 2 or 3 seasons of like a 15 season thing.
Yep. Man, it's the perspective on that is infuriating at times, but it is what it is. Anyway, but like, yeah, so I did that and got to and I got to see the new Super Saiyan, as it were, in Naruto.
Oh.
So I'm like,
with the orbs and shit.
Now I understand why that looks like that.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And immediately after that stream, I had to run and fucking sprint to the train station. To get on a train to head to TO for wedding of a friend.
Okay. Congratulations to friend.
Yep. Had a good time. That was fun. On the way there, I've fully pretty much committed to Teppen as like my time waster of choice.
Yeah.
And probably gonna need like I need to look into like maybe recording something with it or like doing one of those like computer emulator things to play it where you can like play your phone games on your desktop or something. 'Cause like like now I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, I've been playing a bunch of ranked matches and I am not moving forward because now I'm hitting killers.
Spend money.
Right?
That's the answer.
Yeah, no, but my deck has been good enough to get me to the point that I've now reached consistent killers. And everyone I'm fighting at this point is either A rank and above, like A rank, or champion rank. And the champion rank people are like just annihilating me. And but there's matches where my deck totally beats stomps on them too. So it makes me wonder, like, I've stopped tweaking things now because I've like been winning with the deck that I have. But I definitely I'm curious about. I'm like, there's an element here where if they just have a bad random draw of cards and I have a good random draw of cards,
fuck them.
I win, right? That's probably the case. So, like, while you're really doing is you're tweaking like your strategies for your odds of increasing, but there's always going to be a chance that they have a bad random, a bad beat.
Yeah, I remember hearing from a Magic player back in high school that ordering your deck in such a way that you, like, even randomly shuffled, you have better odds of getting things that work together, like blah, blah, blah. But that was with physical cards.
Oh, okay. Because you're not allowed to order.
No, I don't think so. I don't know anything about Teppen. Yeah. What I mean is, like, you stack your deck in such a way that, given a random chance, you're less likely to get a situation in which you have, like, nothing.
Yeah. I mean, I assume you're just talking about, like, making a deck consistently compatible with each other, right? So that you have...
I don't know, man. I don't know how to build decks.
Okay. Well, I'm learning on the fly, but, like, by... If you give yourself, because there's like buff cards and then there's like cards you can play, like characters, and like if you give yourself too many buff cards, then you might run out of characters to play when you need a situation where you got to play one, or you might have too many expensive characters that are all really strong, and like by the time you have enough points saved up to play them, like they can play out like a ton of their shit. There's crazy stuff where like Morrigan can just steal your card.
Okay.
Right? Like like Wesker can destroy it outright. But Morrigan can just take whatever you've been building and be like, yeah, it's mine now. So you have to plan for a strategy to counter that if possible, which so far it seems like the best you can really do, or there's a couple different ways to approach it, right? But with me, it's like I can make my card weaker before it switches sides or stuff like that, right? So, there's these little bits and pieces that like the really good champion players are using that I'm just like, fuck me. Like, I don't know how to even approach stopping that, and then what's always fun, what I do appreciate in this kind of card game world is like a deck that's built towards one thing. And like, you'll see like, even if this person is like a high ranked champion league thing, and then like, they'll try to do this one strategy and like they'll have a couple of plan Bs for reinforcing that strategy, and if those don't work, they just surrender immediately. Yeah. Right? So for example, Jury is a card you can play, and Jury has a Feng Shui engine.
Sure. So
when her card, like she's a pretty average card, but like when she hits you the player directly, and not like one of your cards, she gets access to Feng Shui engine, which is like a massive buff,
right,
that you can play on top of her unit, right? And so like, yeah, they'll do things like they'll play her in a spot and then try to rush it forward so that they just hit you before you can do anything about it.
Right.
If that doesn't work, then they'll put a card on her that makes her attack leap past whatever you put in front of it and still hit you anyway. And then like and then I can put down an anti-air that stops that from happening because she goes like a flying unit. Anyways, this whole thing.
Yeah.
And then they'll do like a third thing where they like duplicate it so that like there's a copy of her that's trying to do the same thing. And I stop that too. And it's like minute 1, surrender. Yeah. Like, fuck it. Didn't work. It's gone.
I think because there's all sorts of fucking gimmick builds that people run in these card games. I think my favorite ever was a Hearthstone gimmick build in which, so Hearthstone is obviously an automated card game in which the effects play automatically.
Yeah.
And there are cards that summon more cards or create enemies on the field or kill enemies on the field.
Yeah.
And for a good long time, I don't know if it's still around, but somebody told me, watch out when you play this, because if people play this deck, there's literally nothing you can do if you're on a phone, because your phone doesn't run as fast as your PC. And it was a deck built around causing so many cards to fill and unfill on the screen over and over and over again, that even after they played their turn, the animations would last so long that you wouldn't be able to complete your turn before the time ran out.
That sucks.
So they would play it, and your turn would start, and you would have to wait for the animations to finish, and they would literally finish at 0. And then you would not get a turn.
Yeah.
And they would just play something on top of that.
So that's garbage. The closest thing to that here is there's moments where I don't know why, but for some reason I feel like I'm always second when it comes to dropping my abilities on the field, because when you do that, it stops the game, slows down time, shows you the big art, and then it's their turn, and then you can match or whatever.
Sure.
And like there's times where you both do it at the same time, and I feel like I'm always on the losing end of those. But in moments where like there's times where like an attack line is slowly making its way towards you, and like the opponent will just keep doing that, so that you never really get a chance to drop your card on a defensive position.
Yeah.
And I'll have moments where like I put the card above the slot that's supposed to stop me from getting hit, and it's just waiting for their animation to finish before it drops.
Yeah.
But then like another one will start, and then it's just floating there, and then like by the third time it just shoots it back to your hand, and then I take the hit, and I'm like, what the fuck, you know? So little weird things. But anyway, yeah, there's also a lot that's unexplained about how these card games work, and like about what abilities are, and maybe some of them are just carryovers from if you're used to the genre, I suppose.
Probably.
But like there's
that wiki.
Well, I went through the wiki. There's an ability list, right, that's in the game that gives you a description of like these properties can be applied to cards. But then there's specific things that are like this card specifically has this unique thing, and then the website will officially explain a couple of those. But there's bits like destroy aim, for example. If anyone out there knows what that does, please tell me, because I literally I typed in Teppen and then open quotations, destroy aim, close quotations, and found like pretty much there was like a 4chan thread, and that was it. There was like no results on that, you know? So
how does it feel to get into fighting games as a new player?
Right, exactly. And this is why when I just now
the irony is like palpable.
Well, I'm looking for but I'm doing Google searches for the terms.
Yeah, right.
Right? In a lot of cases, like the things that I'm referring to it depends, right? But I know that there's lexicons out there for fighting game stuff, and I will always try to like still dumb it down when possible in this type of context, right? So I know that the thing that goes around the card that hits you is called flying. Right. And everyone's like, yeah, Wooly, that's flying. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But I'm going to talk about it in a more...
I think the difference is that...
clear way to hopefully not get jargony.
There are obviously lexicons for these card things. And there is resources, but they're all in like fucking scum basements. Hidden away from the world.
Perhaps.
Not seen by the light of day.
Yeah. Right, because so for example, like when someone uses like okizeme, right, a lot of the time, or oki, it's like, what the fuck, you're just grabbing a Japanese word, right?
I hate it. I've always hated it.
Okay, well,
just say wake up, you weeb assholes.
It's contextual, but but yeah, like that's something where I know for a fact that the anime wiki, the Street Fighter wiki, SRK, and at least one or two other like fighting game lexicon resources out there have a big paragraph telling you what it is, right? So if you were to Google search any words, hopefully you can sort of find that word, you know? But like this was one word I couldn't find. Couldn't find what the meaning of destroy aim was. Revenge, I did look up, and it's like, oh yeah, this is what revenge is. you know. But again, there's there's little specific cards that have things where you're like, but what is that though, you know? And then unfortunately, like there's no official thing on that, which that's fighting games also can run into that problem. But the difference is in fighting games, they're not referring to the words I'm talking about. The community's using those terms.
Right.
So it's on the community to describe what they mean, right? Whereas in this game, it's the in-game definition.
Yeah, like it literally says on the fucking card, destroy aim, and you just have to go either with it.
Right? So if the fighting game was pushing out these words at you and then you didn't know, that'd be one thing. But in this case, it's official terminology. So there's a difference there, you know? But yeah, so still enjoying that and trying to do player matches to try and tweak and figure out how to best the odds. Yeah, anyway, whatever. Teppen. Like I said, I might look into how to record some of that because I've been playing a good bit of it. It'd be probably fun to do it on camera and see what people.
Do you like Teppen?
I'm liking it.
Okay,
I am liking it.
I asked that as an odd question because every time you've brought it up, you were like, "I've used it to waste time," and like wasting time is not always a thing I associate with even enjoyment.
It is firmly in the time wasting category. But like, as somebody who's like proper filling up my schedule with bullshit, like
yeah, people are saying you just tap the word on the card and it'll tell you.
No, so the word so it depends, right? Like in some cases there's a lot of it. I will get, like, one thing Teppen's really good at is you tap the card and then there'll be highlighted things that it'll elaborate on, and it does, and that's definitely something that I've figured out a ton of stuff in the game by doing exactly what they're describing. This is not one of those times. Okay. You know, but it's really good all the other times at that stuff, you know. And it's also really good at like searching, because you can just type in a word and it'll like find you the cards that have that word in it, and then like you can like look by ability and things like that, so that's cool. But yeah. And then the other thing was that, yes, upon getting to that wedding, you always, sometimes funny things happen, and sometimes you pretty much grab your suits and pack them in and head on down, and then on the day of, you put those suits on and you go, oh no.
Oh no?
Oh no.
Oh no.
This isn't happening. And I go, fuck me. Enough. Fell off the wagon. Stopped doing my workouts as much as I was adamantly on them before.
You always got to try that shit on like the week before, man.
You have that physical moment where you know you've been slacking and you know it's bad. And like there was things like, for example, when I was getting a lot of tattoo stuff done, like you can't go work out when you're recovering from that.
Well, yeah, it probably hurts a lot.
So there's skipped sessions through that means, and one thing leads to another, and then you're back from Japan, and before you know it, you're just fucking full off the wagon.
Full off that wagon.
Wagon's in the distance.
Oh no.
And it takes a moment, like literally, like this suit was fitting not but like a year ago, if sooner than that.
Yeah.
This sucks. And you go, fuck me. Time to go fix this problem immediately, but also like for reals in the long term.
Just suck it in.
Yeah. No.
Suck it in the whole day.
Not that it wasn't there.
Oh no.
It wasn't there. It was beyond suck it in. And I mean, the fun part was running to the mall 10 minutes away and going into a suit store and basically going, I have 20 minutes. Do me up. Just make it happen, you know? And like to their credit, the folks there did it. And they basically just went, and I'm like, I like that color. I like that color. I like that suit. I just pointed and things just kind of came, and I just up. And I walked out 15 minutes later, suited up, and it worked.
As somebody with tiny, shitty legs, and let's say I'm overly generous waist,
yeah, you're fucked.
That's not a possibility for me.
Your
I would be
fucked.
tripping over like the knees.
Yep. Yep. Unfortunately, that didn't work. But I walked in a ragamuffin and I walked out, ready for a wedding, and that worked out nicely. So, yay. However, that doesn't address the.
Well, now you got a suit that fits. No problem, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's the long-term damage of just like, oh no, and so we've come to this, So, fucking enough is enough.
You got to try your suits on a week before, man.
But I've never, like, that's a problem I have not had. I've never had that problem. I've always been big and / like I've always had suits that fitted because I just, church stuff would mean you're having them frequently anyway, and at a certain point you're not doing that anymore. But the shit I had still was fitting.
It has a different context for me because I have a stupid body type in which like the legs are in particular are a problem. They're a big problem.
But your legs are not going to change size in terms
of... they're not going to change size, but it means that if anything else changes size, I can't just go get an off the rack fucking thing.
Yeah.
I need like weeks. I need like a week of like somebody cutting the legs off the fucking pants.
No, so fortunately,
And the other thing is that I go like a year and a half easy between wearing suits.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've worn suits like I think 8 times in my life tops.
Mm-hmm. So I don't have that problem. It's not as big of a critical thing in terms of like how to get myself a suit when I need one in an emergency, because I was able to get one within half an hour.
Yeah.
I went from nothing to fully ready to go within that 25 minutes. So like that's nice to know. It's nice to know that can be done, but that's not the point. The point is more so that like, fuck, dude, you gotta get it under control. So that was a real not good feeling.
Oh well. Well, the important thing is that you got a suit that worked and you didn't embarrass your friend.
That's not the important thing.
I mean, at the time, it totally was.
At the time, it was. But yeah, it takes these moments, It takes these real life interactions to like really make it cemented, as opposed to just not quite looking. You don't want to stand on and look at that number. You don't want to stand on the scale,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Anything like that? Can you relate? Ever have a moment where you're just like, uh-oh, I didn't want to think about it, but now it's real?
Sure.
Okay. It's fishing for discussion.
But usually I'm like, yeah, that figures. Yeah, that's my fault.
Yeah, no, exactly. Exactly. It, there was a first for me.
But, I mean, none of it will ever beat these damn legs. Why can't they just be normal legs?
Well, anyway.
I got pajamas, recently pajamas, and, I like them, but they're so long that when I go up the stairs, I have to hold up the legs like I'm in a fucking 1920s lady's dress. I have to pick up the sides and lift them up so I don't trip on the pajama legs.
Beautiful.
Because the legs are so long.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck these baby legs.
So, cue the...
I'm like in a permanent curtsy.
Cue the announcer from Metal Slug. Oh, big.
I could fucking... You know what? Fuck it. Hold on a second.
What are you doing? Pat's getting up. He's putting his phone down, putting his can down. He is turning...
Sauntering away.
He's walking away. He appears to be walking towards the kitchen. He's grabbing his jacket. He's putting his jacket on. He might be gone.
All right. Wooly. Narrate for the people what my hands look like out of my coat.
Your sleeves are drooping, not unlike that kid from the Peter Pan movie. And then when you stick your hand out to reach out, that's when your hands become visible. But at your waists...
We're talking like...
As long as his hands are at his sides, his hands are completely hidden inside the sleeves of his jacket.
6 inches to a foot.
And that's life.
That's life for Pat. Now imagine this twice as bad with your legs. I look like a little kid in every coat I wear.
Now, that does have to do with body size relative to limb extension, correct?
Nah, it's mostly limb extension.
Okay.
Like my torso is overly generous in some respects, but is otherwise a normal-ish torso.
Would you say that the body part of the jacket is correctly fitted?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Ain't nothing fits with these limbs.
them's the breaks.
I remember when I was a little kid, I looked like some kind of double little kid. Because my arms wouldn't come out of my coat no matter how far they stretched.
Well, I'm talking about problems that something can be done about, so...
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. Motivation time. Because fuck.
I was told if I drank milk every day, my arms and legs would grow.
And then...
And then they didn't.
Yep. And then we were told milk is bad.
Fuck you, milk is bad.
And then, to quote Lewis Black, which one fucking is it? Who knows?
With Lewis Black, it's eggs. Are eggs good or bad?
No, he did. The question is milk good or
Oh,
bad?
it's milk?
It's milk, yeah. He does a whole bit on, is milk good for you or bad for you? And then it's like, no one knows. You know?
That's a pretty good Lewis Black
Yeah.
sound you hit on that.
So, yeah. When it comes down to it, though, I feel as if the problem with this ping-ponging system, this zapping system of weight, is that the older you get, the more resistant your body is to change.
Yes.
So, like, you got to really get it in there before it's too late, because it starts to really fight you each time you pong. You know, and the upswing becomes more and more appealing.
Arduous.
Yeah, and I can definitely tell that, like, I'm someone who, despite the fact that my body is completely different from everyone else in my family's.
Really?
Yes. My body is completely different. Everyone else in my family is tall and lithe and athletic. So I'm like, so that's
what video games will do you.
But that means that, like, so that's naturally what is supposed to be happening here, right?
Right.
And it's like, nah, bro. It's fucking fighting me the other way, like, a lot of the time.
You traded Jesus for video games, and this is what you get.
So even when I'm doing calories in, calories out, and I'm counting it down, I'm like, why isn't calories in, calories out actually, like, working in this context? And I had to dig deeper and do a little bit more research on it. And anyway, it's gonna be an uphill battle. But yeah, back in there.
Just suck it in.
Didn't work.
Just no more.
Tried.
You're not doing it hard enough.
I didn't want to destroy the suit.
I could pack all this in if I sucked hard enough.
Didn't want to destroy the shirt or the suit. That's bad. Anyway.
I just don't feel like it.
Yeah, nothing else really.
All right.
Oh, wait, hold on. Did you watch The Mandalorian?
No.
Okay. I watched the first episode of The Mandalorian. I thought that was pretty cool. That's a nice...
Don't post your Baby Yoda gifs. Don't do it.
That's a nice isolated story that puts in a couple nods to things. It does what you'd expect, right?
When's it?
When is it?
Yeah.
That's the funny thing, is I actually am not sure.
Okay.
So there's, like, I'd like, if you're gonna watch it, right? I like, figure it out from that, or I'm sure people have, like, nailed it, or
Is Disney releasing these one episode a week?
Yeah. They're on 3 episodes.
I'll
now.
wait.
Okay. Yeah, I'm actually not sure, and I bet you that people are probably, like, having discussions about it, but there's some signs that seem to indicate it might be this point in time. There's some signs that indicate it might be a little bit, like, before that. I'm not 100%. So,
apparently that Baby Yoda is very cute.
Well, and there's some other fun stuff too besides that thing. Like, I was like, oh, like, there's a droid that showed up. I'm like, hey, it's like IG-88, but it's different. Some other things, you know, and you're like, okay, cool. So anyway, yeah, it seems to be, it reminds me of the way, obviously not the way it looks, but the way it's written reminds me of the Genndy Clone Wars. in the sense that, at least from this first episode, there's a lot of, like, not silence, but, like, very straightforward delivery of events. And nothing too, like, nothing's trying too hard to, like, push a second layer of things at you, right? It's just kind of going like, hey, this is in Star Wars. Here's a couple references to things. And everything you're looking at is very clear-cut, straight-up delivery of events occurring. And that way you can it's probably because, like, that'll upset the least amount of people if you do fuck up by just delivering a very straightforward story. But so far, at least as far as that pilot goes, I was like, yeah, I'll watch more of that. Should be interesting. Also, if you like Mandalorians, then you'll get to see a whole lot of that.
By the head of Lucasfilm saying, it's really hard to make stuff in the Star Wars universe now because we don't have any comics or books or anything like that to draw off of like Marvel does.
Yeah, that is funny.
And everyone in the universe went, you fuck.
Is it possible that the decision to kill all that stuff off was contested internally?
Yeah, probably.
Is it possible that someone like that might come out and say that, almost being like, see what happens? I don't know.
They could have just killed all the stuff off post episode 6 and been fine. And been like, and then just mined it for ideas and just redone them later. And
kept everything from pre.
I mean, for fuck's sake, Mandalorian itself is a comic from the expanded universe. They never fucking say Mandalore in those movies.
I think they said something. I remember somewhere. I'm not sure if it's official or just like speculative, but there was a line along the lines of like the nature of the expanded universe made it so that directors and like other like movie making types were scared to touch the property.
Oh, it was gigantic and massive, and every event for 20 years after the fucking movies ended was detailed in every conceivable way.
So anyone who has to come in has to go familiarize with all that shit.
Yeah, but
they're too scared to.
You can still fucking mine it for cool ideas. You can still create Admiral Thrawn and have a blue villain asshole who's just a general.
Well, I imagine that's kind of what their plan was, / what they're gonna do, / what they're doing, is by you kill it all off, but you grab bits and pieces that like are worth bringing back.
But Wooly, we need to have the lightsabers that spin like helicopters. You seen that shit?
No.
Oh man.
But I am familiar with General Grievous.
Oh, so the fucking bad Sith people that hunt the Jedis in the Clone Wars shit, their lightsabers are double-sided, but they're like circular around the handle because they hit a button and they start spinning like a helicopter, and they use them to fly away.
Oh no.
And the main antagonist in Fallen Order totally has that lightsaber, but I bet you dimes to donuts that she will never ever use that function because it looks like the shittiest thing ever.
Wait, do they literally
hold their arms up and fucking it starts to spin and they fly away? You can look up clips of this easy on the YouTubes. It's very bad.
Why would you approve that?
It's very bad.
It's really stupid.
And that's canon.
Also, it's light.
But Revan, fuck Revan.
It's light.
Shut up.
It's not a helicopter blade.
It's light and it has no mass.
There's nothing to propel you.
Shut up. Like, I think when I started my Fallen Order stream, I went on this mini rant that was based off of a similar rant that Rich Evans did on one of their Star Wars things, which is Star Wars is totally fuck bankrupt and has no variability and nowhere to go because the movies have course corrected over and over that you can only have this archetype, you can only have this. You're watching it right now, aren't you?
Maybe.
You can only have the cool wizard who's got you got scoundrel, gunman. Oh, you're looking at it.
Oh, it's so dumb.
Oh, it's bad.
No.
Oh.
There's no mass. It's just nothing. It's just light. Oh, fuck you.
And
That's stupid.
like every Star Wars thing has to follow this really rigid formula of like who the good guys are and who the bad guys are and what they're all like. And like the expanding universe wasn't like that. So kill it.
I mean, that's canon.
Like you want to hear like, but let's talk about Star Wars canon. Here's how fucking dumb and how little you should take Star Wars canon seriously. Hey, Wooly, why is it that when Luke and Vader are fighting in episode 6, you know, with the final fight, Return of the Jedi, and they're swinging these fucking things around like they're the heaviest goddamn shits ever?
Because that's how the directors were told.
Because Lucas
that's how
said,
they were directed to do it.
Swing them like they're heavy swords.
You go back to this point a lot. You always bring it up.
And then everything after that, he's like, oh, no, wait, they're made out of light. They should be totally weightless.
Yep.
Yep. And, like, but shut up. Like, it's stupid. It's dumb.
The, one of the questions that, like, comes back every once in a while to me, and then it occurred last night, was one where I realized, I'm like, wait, so... I'm like, right, I never actually... Because I didn't watch the CG Clone Wars...
Yeah.
I never... Like, I assume that's the place where you find out how we go from the clone army, clone troopers, to the stormtroopers. I assume the process of them getting replaced is explained somewhere in those seasons.
Yeah.
But, like, I always kind of have those moments of going, wait, yeah, what was the bleed into that? When did we go from, like, fuck these clones into, like, let's just hire grunts?
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know. Shut up.
But anyway. About them.
And I got a guy in here that explains the helicopter blades.
Yeah.
In so doing proves that the helicopter blades are even dumber. They're flying with the Force, not the sabers, which is already established as a thing for short-range levitation. So if that's the case, then why do they need to spin it all?
Yeah, sure. You can use the Force to fly, sure. Well, then why that?
Why hold up your helicopter blades?
Like it's one like why do you need these things to occur, you know? For the visual of the helicopter blade, is that literally
so that
it?
The kids understand they could fly?
Because spins make things think
it's so
helicopter
stupid.
Move go.
Star Wars is the worst. I really like a bunch of things in Star Wars, but I now realize that everything that I like in Star Wars is either the first 3 movies or video games that came out like decades later.
Everything you like in Star Wars is powered by something you hate.
Yeah. Something
stupid is powering all the cool shit.
You ever... you know
literally.
You remember KOTOR and how there's vibro swords and there's swords that are just made out of metal?
Yep.
And it hit the lightsaber?
Yep.
You want to think about how the lightsaber has no mass at all?
Mm-hmm.
If you have a 10-pound sword, right? And you swing it at a guy who holds a lightsaber up, and the lightsaber has no mass... That means they have to control the recoil all with their wrist, right? Mm-hmm. Doesn't that mean you're going to hit their lightsaber and it's going to push the lightsaber just straight into their body because they have nothing to hold your sword back?
In theory, but the Force stuff.
Oh, the Force! Always with the Force now.
How else? You know, that's why. Gotta use it to hold it.
If that's the case, why don't they all just hold their swords around them telekinetically and just be Magneto with lightsabers and just shoot them like projectiles?
Because they're not that good. It's hard.
I said that. I am waiting right now for somebody in this chat to say, so back in the day, there was this guy who was like a fish man, and he didn't have any arms or legs.
Welcome.
Some do. There it is.
There you go. Welcome to the discussion. Not only that, welcome to the discussion about like if a lightsaber is just a machine, why can't anyone pick it up, press the button? And
sure enough, they show that.
Yeah,
Finn
and
does
then
that.
there's stuff. There's a whole discussion there, you know. So
Oh fuck yeah, that happens in KOTOR too.
Yeah,
I completely forgot.
Everyone's yelling it.
There's a boss fight that character does that.
Sure,
great,
dude. Saber,
that's not canon.
That's what saber toss is.
Yeah, Yeah, totally.
It's a move.
Just throw 35 sabers all at once. Well, who's gonna stop it?
So, just don't question it. Just a consume product.
Star Wars is the worst.
It's the best worst.
Star Wars is the best worst.
Okay, what did you like? Did you enjoy that? Yeah, well, guess what? That only happened because the secrets of the wills took place on a small midichlorian level.
The Will of the Wisps?
The journal of the secret wills.
The bugs?
Yep.
The bugs in our hearts?
He didn't say they were bugs.
What are they?
Your brain thinks they're bugs because they're small.
Yeah.
He never said that. I'm picturing tiny little human fairy
things.
things.
No, they're bugs.
I'm picturing mini humans. I'm picturing Fern Gully.
Oh, that's so dumber.
Yeah, no.
That's way
the wills,
worse.
though. The wills. I think the wills are like little humanoids. I don't think they're bugs at all. That's where my brain goes. You don't know. Yeah, it's in there. It's the only reason cool shit happens.
I fucking hate Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I fucking hate Star Wars.
Yeah. So, if you want to learn about, or you want to just enjoy the Mando, you can just watch the Mando.
You know what's funny? Me and Plague and Paige were watching some Star Trek last night, and there was a moment in which, and this happens every single time I talk to some old Star Trek fan, where somebody goes, "Hey, you remember that time?" And they describe some fucking goofball episode that has the worst thing in the world happen to it. And I laughed so hard that I almost fell down and blood started shooting out of my nose. Because we were talking about the episode in which Miles O'Brien, you know, the transporter guy,
big difference.
His daughter Molly falls into a time portal on a picnic and falls back out 10 years later as a psychotic feral child that bites people and stabs people. And then the episode ends with them just going, "She's too hard to take care of," and they go back to the planet and dump her back in the portal. And say she'll be happier this way.
They don't fix the problem.
Yeah. And everything around that is the funniest thing in the world and had me, like, actually shooting blood.
That's pretty fucked up.
Oh, laughing. And there are a million things in Star Trek about that. And the thing about that for Star Trek is because the way it was made, every time you talk about that, it's forever. It's locked in. That happened. There's no, like, this didn't count or that didn't count. Sure. It's always like, no, that
there's a 616 reality that we're following.
Yeah. And the Star Wars has had this really long history of anything goes right up until it doesn't. And the only thing you can count as gospel is the movies, and in the movies none of that stupid shit happens. Right?
Yeah.
Like, the movies don't talk about the fucking wills.
But at the same time, right, when you go to EU, like, the best and worst of Star Wars comes from the EU,
yeah, totally.
Right? Everything that, like, there's for everything that you thought was cool, there's probably also, like, mirrored garbage.
Oh, yeah. Like I think back to there's a TNG episode in which Beverly Crusher, the doctor, goes back to visit her Nana, and her Nana passes away. And then her Nana's Irish sex ghost latches on to Beverly, and
Can we just throw adjectives on the word ghost?
Wooly, it is an Irish sex ghost. You don't know. Okay.
Like, this sounds way too much like our flavor of terminology.
I will show you the video.
That it's okay.
Okay, and she decides to quit her job to live with her Irish sex ghost, and it starts sapping her life energy and all that, and then it gets her all wrapped up by the end of the episode. But then it's like, no, that happened. That was a thing. That wasn't like a fucking weird offshoot, or like the book after episode 6 where Leia gets a fucking red lightsaber in honor of her dad bullshit, right? That was prime time. That aired on TV in season 7. There's no escaping it.
There's one mystery that remains that I keep hearing about, and I don't like it. I'm taken aback every time I see people talk about it.
All right.
But and this is purely based on, like, sometimes you leave and walk back in, and the situation is just not what it used to be.
All right.
You know when you walk out of the party. And then
you come back and the party's different.
And it's way different. Things have gone in a different direction.
There's a community GIF available for this that you can go find.
Yes. Back in my day.
Back in your day.
When I said the word Ahsoka Tan.
Yeah.
everyone goes, ugh. And I'm like, I know, right?
Yeah.
What a stupid piece of shit annoying thing to drop into the canon.
Right.
How terrible is it that the most annoying character has another super annoying sidekick following him around?
Yeah.
And then
now
suddenly, when I wasn't looking,
that's my favorite.
I turned around for 1 second and I looked back and everyone is like, she's the best shit.
Ahsoka Tano is so popular in Star Wars
Like,
that
but she was so terrible.
is so
What kind of turnaround? That's the one thing I'm like, what happened?
so popular that
Blindsided.
as a result, Star Wars canonized the use of time travel just to unkill her.
I don't even see. I didn't
Time travel in Star Wars is real and has been used.
So you just dropped 2 facts that I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Right? In that one sentence.
Yeah.
Because my whole thing is this annoying Padawan kid is probably just gonna bite it because everyone does, because we gotta get to A New Hope eventually, and we can't get to A New Hope if she's around.
Dude.
So how's that gonna go down? And like this is
like
me watching her.
Let me fucking break it down for you, okay? Ahsoka, whatever her fucking name
Ahsoka
is.
Tano.
Whatever. She has her hero moment where she fights off fucking Darth Vader so the kids can get away.
Wait, when is this?
Clone Wars, I think, or Rebels. One of the fucking.
Okay. It's like
it's canon. Shut up.
Okay, but you're jumping into like I'm trying to say that when I walked into the movie theater, and watched the 3D Clone Wars movie, and I walked out, the first thing I was complaining about was how annoying that dumb kid was.
Okay, sure, but in the is it Rebel? What the fuck is it? Whatever. In it, like she has her fucking cool ass hero moment where she's gonna stall.
So they do the turnaround.
They're just gonna stall Darth Vader.
Dude, if everyone turned around, there is clearly a turnaround.
You're gonna listen to this. And
no,
I'm
trying. That's not even what I'm trying to hear right now. I'm just trying to get everybody to confirm, right, that the first time she showed up, that shit was ass, dog.
I don't even know. I didn't see that shit.
Okay, the first time she showed up, it was garbage. Like, I get it that there's a turnaround, but just stay with me on this one. The first version, the little stupid kid, that shit was the most annoying garbage ever.
I don't know. Sure, I believe you. Whatever.
Yes, thank you. Okay.
All right.
There we go.
So she has her cool hero moment. She's gonna fight the Darth Vader so the kids can get away, and the arena closes in, and they go, "No, don't!" And then it closes in, and you're like, "Well, Darth Vader's gonna live, so you know she's fucking dead, right?" Later, when they're talking, when they're in the time universe with the Force gods, and they're walking by all the moments that happened in seasons past, they literally just walk by a vision of her fighting Darth Vader and about to die, and they just jump through, grab her, and just jump back out. And Darth Vader's like, what? And you're like, we saved you, you're alive. The writers desperately regretted killing you off. So here the writer reached into the page and picked her up off the page and just moved her over.
No timeline ramifications for that.
Fuck that. Well, the temple gets blown up at the end, so time travel is dead. So time travel was invented, used, and killed within the span of, I think, one Star Wars Rebels episode, maybe a 2-parter, just to undo this character's death.
Star Wars is unlike any other franchise when it comes to making a character you like really lame.
Yeah.
And making a really lame character do something you like.
Like Darth Vader sucks. Darth Vader sucks.
I like Darth Vader.
Did you watch the Red Letter Media breakdown on fucking Darth Vader's suit and how he's just choking in like burnt leather rubber pork smell because it was fitted to his busted limbs wrong?
I have never been more fucking upset when they pointed out that he had to fucking stop breathing for the element of surprise.
Oh,
to
in
work.
fucking Rogue One?
I'm so mad because I fucking legit thought that moment was good.
But he's just like, I'm going to hold my breath for 40 seconds.
No. Now, admittedly, going back to double check it. It's way faster than that.
Yeah, but still.
It's super quick.
Still, though,
it's not as bad as they said.
Shut up.
But the idea that he turned off his equipment for the element of surprise, fuck me, man. I hate that
so
shit.
that a cool camera shot could happen.
And it worked. Anyway, yes. Anyway,
Darth Vader is also massively overused in all fucking expanded universe stuff, particularly the games.
Because he's the coolest guy from the fucking, like, you know what I mean, 70s to 80s that everyone was like, that's the villain.
Like, I have a sneaking...
What a cool badass that actually redeems himself.
I have a sneaking suspicion because with Fallen Order, I saw people complaining that there are way too many unwinnable boss fights in that game. And I'm like, I wonder who those could be against in the timeline in between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. Right? And it's just like,
Darth Vader,
you gotta stop.
Darth Vader, like if you like I hate Darth Vader, or if Darth Vader sucks, like you're an idiot. Because Darth Vader is right up there with other, like, film villains that are like, that's the bad guy, but holy shit, is it cool? Like the Predator.
Yeah, but you didn't see the Predator crying and begging for sex and making sand analogies.
But the problem is, I'm talking about then, I'm talking about in that 456.
Yeah.
Right? That history, that fucking affected pop culture. And then we were like, well, let's go back to see what happened. Then yes, we unfortunately have to go into sand. And it getting everywhere.
Please, Natalie Portman. I'm young. I got a rat tail. That's hot, right?
I mean, hot takes. Fucking Anakin.
Anakin sucks.
Is the lamest. Whatever.
It's the hottest.
Darth Vader's cool.
But they're the same person, Willie.
Are they?
Yes, because no.
But
yes.
No, because fucking what's his name?
James Earl Jones says the word Padme. That character died.
Also, no, big fat bubblehead. Like squeezing like a toothpaste tube out of the top of his neck. Right? Versus Hayden Christensen.
I hate it.
Come on.
I hate Star Wars.
Still
Star Wars
cool.
is great.
Still cool.
Laser swords are cool forever.
That's
swords, where I'm at on Star Wars.
Like you strip it all the way down. Laser swords are cool forever.
Yeah.
Cool helmets are cool forever.
Yeah.
So Mando helmets and Vader helmets.
Yeah, that's cool.
And even Kylo Ren
The
helmets.
second sister has a really cool look in Fallen Order.
All right. Revan helmets. Cool helmets are cool forever.
Yeah.
All right. The Force as an ability to game genie people.
Yeah.
In life.
It's just a level 8 wizard, dude.
Right? That's fun.
They do cantrips and shit.
That's fun, but it's in space this time.
Yeah, it's in space.
That's fun. X-Wings
unlocking
TIE fighters.
locking their attack foils.
And TIE fighters.
That's cool.
And TIE Advanced.
Yeah, and the noise that the TIE fighter makes when it goes past the camera.
That's always cool.
It's like a scream.
That's always cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
Pod racing is cool.
Pod racing's cool.
Pod racing is cool.
I think that's
You
like
can't
a highlight
make it
of that
cool.
movie. It's a cool.
It's gonna be cool.
Swoop racing is also cool.
Yep. Droids are cool.
Robots.
Droids are cool.
Who doesn't like a good robot?
Putting personality on the robots, making them autonomous. It's good. Fun races that have quirks to them.
Yeah.
Where you go, you're like us, but you're different.
Jizz music is cool.
No.
Wooly.
No.
The music's called Jizz.
No.
You can't undo that.
It's not cool.
The Cantina music theme is Jizz.
That's not cool. The music in Star Wars is good.
Yeah.
But
John Williams is cool.
He's cool. Can't take that away.
Is he alive? Hope so.
Yeah. Mixing the Imperial March with the
AT-STs are cool. Not the big ones, but the little ones.
You don't like AT-ATs? You don't like the AT-ATs?
Nah.
I like AT-ATs.
I think the AT-STs are way cooler.
But I like AT-ATs because the way they defeated them was like an interesting, fun,
it was
clever thing.
because you played Empire whatever.
Shadows of the Empire?
That game, yeah.
Way before that.
And
I always did the
loopy
No, I always
thing.
thought the wraparound was red.
Yeah,
Like,
but
it's a contrivance
fun.
that's like a fun thing that they discover.
Yeah.
And it's also like visually, here's why ADATs are cool. Visually, they're imposing signs of
Dominance
and empirical values
Yeah.
reaching out into the Democratic Republic,
of whatever.
you know. The rebellion, yeah.
I'm so excited for Rise of the Skywalker. I'm so excited.
What if they turn it around?
I want fucking Palpatine. You know what I want from Palpatine? So Palpatine's going to be in the new movie.
What if they turn it around?
I want to point
They
out...
canceled the D&D trilogy.
Yeah.
And they apologized for Solo.
Yeah.
And they knew that they took things too far. And they also heard that everyone fucking hated where it was going.
So
what if
Mike Stoklasa
I know it's too late.
once said, in a moment of wisdom, in his Plinkett voice, Mike Stoklasa said, he said, Palpatine's behind it all, as we all know. Now, the fact that decades later, decades after the Plinkett review, we're now at the point where, yes, Palpatine was behind it all. I think the only way we can save this is if Palpatine does, it's me, I'm evil, right? And he turns around, and he's like a fucking head on a bunch of spider legs. Just the head.
Why even spider leg it?
Because I'm thinking of the guy from Wild Wild West.
Okay. No, I want a Futurama tube.
Oh, like a glass tube.
Glass tube.
Just a tube. And it just spins on, it's like a dinner plate, like a Lazy Susan.
Just floating around.
Yeah.
And they have to carry it.
No, you know what I want? I want him to fucking be like just the head, and he puts the lightsaber in his mouth, and he bites it, and he just flies around like a lost soul from Doom.
No, but then, no, they put him inside of like a body like Krang.
I don't want that. That's too, no.
But it's a body made of lightsabers.
Okay. All right.
and
they're
there's
all
force
just
lightning is just seeping between them. And now it's all swinging at you. Now what?
The new
Your
stuff,
move, Jedi.
The new trilogy is so safe and boring, man.
And this is where, like, unless, there's nowhere else to go but this, right? Like, no matter what you thought of episode 8,
I thought things.
there was that moment where there was an idea.
Yeah.
An idea that could have
been really cool.
Turned it around. And it wouldn't fix everything, but it would be so ballsy to just fly in the face of all expected convention and swerve.
You're talking about the dark side shit, right?
I'm talking about the back-to-back.
Yeah. Oh,
right?
that! Yeah, okay.
When the back-to-back happens and you're like, wait a minute. Whoa, wait,
Could
what?
Could this possibly go in a weird new direction?
Where everybody says, fuck all of this? Because that would be so interesting. Yeah. Even if what got us here has some bullshit.
Hey, Wooly.
That could have been such...
Rian Johnson wants to subvert your expectations in every way other than the one way that would have been super radical.
It's almost like something stopped it from happening.
It's almost like someone said no. No, you are not allowed.
Like we were going there, and then they're like, but then how are we going to do the toy sales?
Dude, I just think the funniest thing... Like, there's a lot to complain about episode 8, and I'm sure many people have made YouTube careers off of it.
Yeah.
But I think the funniest thing about that is, like, the ending where they're like, yeah, we did it. We escaped. And they're, like, all hugging and cheering, and it's, like, 12 people. And it's like, we just had tens of thousands of our buddies die, and Admiral Akbar's fucking dead, and everyone's dead, and Luke is dead, and everything's dead. But we made it! We got out of here on the Falcon! Woo! It's like, holy shit.
Leaning into the gray is not a traditional storytelling move.
Nah.
And it's not something that, if you're going by the book, you're supposed to do with a big-ass crazy franchise like this.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, having the balls to step in that direction would have been
so interesting,
fascinating, because then you're stuck with like everyone walks out of there obsessed with what that means as opposed to what just happened.
Hey Wooly, I got a pro tip for you.
And it reminds me of a certain young Keanu Reeves holding his hand up and stopping a sentinel in the real world.
And you're like,
but what? And the discussion ignores everything about how bad what you just saw was, because you're just going, what the fuck does that mean?
Where's this gonna go?
It might be something wacky and interesting.
It wasn't.
But
it could have been.
And that takes balls.
Hey, you wanna get super pissed off at Star Wars and really hate Star Wars based on the conversation you're having now? Go play KOTOR 2. And get ready to be super mad at how fucking lame Star Wars is.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna.
'Cause, like, Wooly, there are fucking 3 Sith in fucking KOTOR 2.
Yeah.
And all of them are literally the coolest evil characters to ever exist in that franchise.
Yeah. No, I've already put plans together to play that. So.
And I think back on, like, the speech that the villain gives you at the end, and I'm like, that one batch of dialogue is so much more compelling than any of the shit we have talked about today. It would be really nice if a character in an actual Star Wars movie was able to talk to anyone and be like, no, the dark side actually has some perks that aren't just power and being evil.
So again, this is a conversation that could have happened after the thing I'm describing. After the moment, you know?
Do you remember when we were playing KOTOR 1 and we learned the code of the Sith?
Yeah.
And through the Force, my chains are broken.
Yeah.
And we were like, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
That's the best thing that's ever happened in Star Wars.
You just flip it.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah. No, because here's what happens, right? I mean, I can't take it to its fullest conclusion, but it gives you food for thought where you just go, let's strip apart this whole dogma on both sides and look at its pieces and examine each one and figure out who we are from there, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, I would, even if it fell on its face in terms of, like, casting, acting, events, even if the dots led to nonsense, right? Like, the idea to deconstruct your lore in that way, and also sort of, how do I put this? You know how, like, the time that something comes out in can be reflective of... Let me rephrase that. If you make a thing back then it's of that era.
Yeah.
And then when you make it today, you can revisit the same ideas, but with the modern
lens.
era,
yeah.
And in a lot of cases, that makes it garbage.
Yeah.
But this would have been one of those ways to go, like, oh, we can make it interesting. Because... like, the concept of Sith and Jedi for the longest while have been what they are.
It's laughably binary.
And we know it's the most pure good and evil thing there's ever been. So the thought process of, like, somewhere in the canon, taking the time to think about that stuff.
Like, there's an hour.
Would have fucking floored me.
There's an hour or two into...
But I'm putting a whole bunch of shit that doesn't exist.
You're dead on, because, like, an hour or two into KOTOR 2, like the first person you talk to, they say, oh, were you involved in the Jedi Civil War? And you go, what? You mean, like, Revan's, like, evil war on the Republic? And he goes, yeah, it was Jedi fighting Jedi.
Yeah.
And you're like, but they were evil. And he's like, no one cares.
Yeah.
But about, like, your light side, dark side fucking shit, you're all just laser wizards.
And there's always, like, someone who comes along and says, like, you're putting way too much into this dumb thing for children. And to that person, I say, you're not wrong.
You're not wrong.
However, the fact that they're skating so close to something that I think might be interesting makes me want to talk about that possibility.
I mean, like, Star Wars, by the end of its life, as even the original trilogy, was just like a toy vehicle. Like, that's why Ewoks exist.
Of course.
But, like, the Gundam's a toy vehicle.
The Christmas special is the truest incarnation of Lucas's vision.
But, like, Gundam's a toy vehicle, and even though they keep showing you how that fucking transformation works every single episode,
they still
talk about, like, you know, war and the future of humanity in space and shit like that. And that came right around the same era, even.
Yeah.
And then they shoot that bitch's head off with a rocket launcher.
You can sell toys and scar children at the same time.
Fuck them. We can kill guilty children.
If they're guilty.
Yeah. We shouldn't kill children. But what about guilty children?
Oh, they're good to go.
I should watch Iron-Blooded Orphans.
Or, you know, like Children of the Corn?
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen it. But, like, that entire...
I assume the end of that is somebody just shoots them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, the entire... the premise of, like, these spooky children fucking around with you, and I'm just like... Okay, but eventually someone just beats their asses, right?
Yeah, just
like,
runs up
thoroughly.
And hits them with a pitchfork or something.
Right? At the point where you're like, okay, you gotta go, and you're no longer, like, a child. You're just, like... You're an instrument of evil that needs to be destroyed. Then you're like, oh, hey, cool. Pretty lucky to know that you're half the size of a regular human so that you can get destroyed that much easier. Because there's a point where you just write it off. I hope that's where that goes.
You know what my favorite part about talking about this is that when you talk shit about Star Wars or any long-running thing, you always see the people trying to defend it and do it really badly. So I'm going to pick out my favorite quote of the day. Quote, Star Wars is for children, but Anakin slaughtered children in both episode 2 and 3. That's factually incorrect. Anakin never killed one children. What Anakin did was kill younglings. Why younglings? So that you can get around from saying the words killed children in your children's film.
You think that's why?
Absolutely.
I think that's contrivance. I think that
younglings is such an awkward phrase. I can only think
but it's in the same way that the parlance of the rest of the universe. And he walks into a room.
No, it's not, because in episode 2, when he kills the sand people, he says, and I killed all of them, even the children.
Even the children, yeah. But, like, isn't youngling something to do with, like, how Obi-Wan talks about, like, Padawans and stuff? Isn't that just, like, Jedi parlance?
I don't think so. I really don't.
But also, how much is the language going to affect the idea when there's a shot of a lightsaber turning on in front of a child?
I don't know, man.
Like, it's not going to do much.
And then a pan of a bunch of dead kids.
I am not buying it. I don't know.
That was my favorite part.
But it is very clear that that does occur. And up until that point, you do have the first version of it where you do get, he's riding the motorcycle, and then you're like...
He's like, I'm going to cut these
But they
kids.
were the bad ones, though.
They were the bad ones. They weren't human.
They were the evil ones.
Yeah. I kill them.
They don't count.
We later find out that they're of a noble pre-Republic race.
Oh, yeah?
The Sand People, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
It's like a fucking history dating back to zillions of years.
Well, yeah, shouldn't
fuck them.
Shouldn't have kidnapped his mom. That's what happens.
Star Wars is the worst. I love
Shout outs
Star
to
Wars.
that thread that was like awesome posters for bad movies.
Yeah.
And it showed you the episode 1 poster. Where,
it's really good.
Baby Anakin's walking and he's got the shadow on the wall.
The Darth Vader shadow.
It's good.
You're like, oh, wow.
Very
Little
sure.
did we know.
Yeah, anyway, give the Mando a click.
I'll give Mando a clip, maybe.
See how you feel.
Yeah, maybe.
Quick word from our sponsors.
Let's take one quick word from our sponsors.
This week, the podcast is sponsored by Smooth, Clean Comfort on your balls. The podcast is sponsored by Manscaped.
Hey, Manscaped. What's up?
All that chafing you got going on down there?
I don't got nothing.
Did you use your Manscaped?
We discussed this last week. There's nothing for me to manscape, Wooly.
Okay. Well, when you're not a hairless, strange creature,
When you're not a hairless orb
if you're like the rest of us
and have body hair,
then you have concerns, and those concerns are warranted. What happens when it gets a little bit too hot?
I don't know.
What happens when you spend not enough time paying attention to the cool down bar that should be occurring around your crotch? Well, I'll tell you what happens. Your pubes start acting up.
Yeah.
And they're not great.
Do they form like a pubic rat king?
They rebel against the kingdom that is your body.
Okay.
They can chafe. They can emit odors. They can do all kinds of bad things that you
You're like, you need to stop that.
Yep.
I don't appreciate you.
It is, quite frankly, the most disgusting part of your body. And
I don't know, your asshole's pretty bad. Poop comes out of that.
Well, yeah. But it's in the same area.
But you can't just seal off your asshole.
Dude, like, it's the same block. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, it's the same neighborhood. You know what's going on. Two sides of the street.
The street sucks.
It's not a great street, which is why it needs more attention.
It needs more maintenance.
And it needs more upkeep. So go to your local city councilor and sit down and vote to put your time and investment into taking care of that shit with Manscaped. It is the revolutionary redesigned electric trimmer. Their Lawnmower 2.0. It's got a proprietary advanced skin-safe technology, so the trimmer won't nick or snag your nuts. It's also waterproof. You can use it in the shower. The Lawnmower 2.0 comes inside the Perfect Package 2.0, which makes the perfect gift this holiday season. Literally everything you need to keep trimmed, cut-free, and smell nice. Don't use the same trimmer on your face that you do on your balls. What the fuck are you doing, man? Come on. Come on. Hey.
Yeah, that's madness.
Put that shit down. Stop it.
That's a bad idea.
Fucking, don't even, yeah. You know who you are. Manscaped Perfect Package 2.0. It also includes a crop preserver, the anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer.
Oh my God.
You heard correctly. You already put deodorant on your armpits. Why not put deodorant on the smelliest part of your body? Okay? So deal with the stink. You got something ready and waiting for you. And of course, alongside the crop preserver, you've got the full perfect package that also includes boxer briefs. Keep your junk feeling fresh all day. They got the space in it to allow you to breathe and be comfortable while you smell good. So 'tis the season. Get yourself, your dad, your brother, friends, anybody, the best gift of all, the Manscaped Perfect Package 2.0. And you can get 20% off plus free shipping with the code SUPERBEAST at manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code SUPERBEAST at manscaped.com. 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com using the promo code SUPERBEAST. There you go.
Thank you, Manscaped.
Now you can't be dismissed when somebody posts that meme that says, another man with an unwashed ass has an opinion. Now you can go, aha! My ass and my balls are washed. Thanks to Manscaped. How's your stuff?
I played like 99% of my week was playing Death Stranding. I played a shitload of Death Stranding. I am also finishing up Outer Worlds, and I have to say, Outer Worlds is one of those games that is astonishingly front-loaded in quality. I would call it a good-ass 8 out of 10 overall.
I asked you if you've hit the point when you were talking where the beginning, like, show-off missions go away, and you just hit the list.
Yeah. That doesn't happen. That's
Okay.
not the way the game functions.
Okay.
But it's all about corporate dystopia, all the humor and all the storylines about corporate dystopia. And the problem is that the first planet, Emerald Vale, the first zone, has by far the best and most interesting writing in the game. And then the second area has the second best writing. And then the third area has the third best. And by the time you're near the end of the game, you're like, yeah, I get it. The corporations are stupid. The one exception is a incredible quest in which somebody asks you to go pick up their package from the UPS store, only for you to show up and they said, well, it's out for delivery, only for you to sprint down the street and to find we tried to deliver your order tag, and like go through that fucking process.
That's hilarious.
It's really good.
That's a really good premise.
But it just like it gets the scenarios just get weaker and weaker. Also, the game is very poorly balanced. In that you become laughably overpowered very quickly, and changing difficulties does not fix it.
Okay, how many hours did it take you to catch on to all of this?
It's very gradual. It's very, very gradual. So the game is only about 30 long. So at about halfway through, you start to realize that, well, that planet was a little weaker than the last one, right? And it's like each one is like 5% weaker than the last one, right? But then you get to the third, or you get to Monarch, which is where you spend like the back half of the game, and it's just like, yeah, I get it. It's the theme is about corporate dystopia, and it turns out that's too narrow. New Vegas, as the example everybody uses, had a wide variety of different themes. Pillars even it's about souls, but also had stuff about society and stuff like that. It's too narrow. And ironically enough, just like Pillars, I feel like this game's problem is it plays it too safe a lot of the time. It's not weird enough.
Now, the opening lines you used and scenarios you described were immensely effective at conveying the world, and at convincing people to be like, yo, I'm gonna go check this game out.
Yeah, and that's the best stuff in the game. The best stuff in the game is the first 10 hours.
This is something that no amount of time will make go away when it comes to video game development. I feel like the modern day process lends itself towards concept front-loaded, and then final area being full of magic and gravitas, and if they're going for the final
questions and wonder.
The final area should be, and usually is, the complete opposite of everything else in the game up to that point.
Yeah.
If you've been in a super clean environment, this is all gross. If it's
or vice versa.
Or super gross environment, this is all clean, and it's massive in scale, and it is cinematic, right, in how you build up to your final encounter and such. So that kind of almost like writes itself into being like, well, this is the conclusion of this plot, therefore you're tying up loose ends. But usually the area right before that, or
you know what this is, Wooly?
The previous two have this downsync again, where there's not a ton of plot threads to really keep you going, and in some cases, the game's formula, like I was talking about with Death Stranding, even has to just carry you when there's nothing else that you care about happening.
You played the Persona 5.
I did play Persona 5.
You remember how incredible the first dungeon was?
Mm-hmm.
And how the second one was slightly less incredible, but it had an amazing visual motif.
Yeah, but
and then the third one was a little weaker.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Okumura Foods one was weak as fuck, right? It's doing that.
Yeah.
There's moments of brilliance in the middle, but the core concept and the setup was the strongest at the very beginning.
Yes. Because and it's mainly in those cases it's because the wrongs that you're righting are not anywhere near as egregious.
Yeah.
Right? You're not fighting against the same caliber of villain.
Yeah. In Outer Worlds' case, I actually have like a slightly better inkling of what was going on, because I did not know this was how the game was made. I had one of the writers for the game is actually a guy who watches my streams, and was like, "Hey, glad to see you're enjoying it."
Cool.
I wrote everything for the first the first area, and I'm like, "Oh, that's why it's like that." Because different writers tackle different zones. And the problem is they gave this guy, and I forget your name, I'm sorry, buddy, I'll go check it out, the first zone, because you got to knock it out of the park. It's the setup. And he should have written the whole game. Because it's way better. Just as simple as that. Now, you know what game is not like this? Is fucking Death Stranding. Because Death Stranding is a climb in terms of quality. Like, the farther you go, the better that game becomes.
Fascinating. That's very unusual, especially in these long, large games.
By the way, I spoke to you earlier, right before the podcast, about where you're at. You gotta fucking drill down, because that's a big fucking game. That's a big boy.
Yeah, it's the circumstances of what's happening in my life at the moment.
It goes from hiking to built a ladder, right? And it goes from planning your trip to planning the area to like optimizing the area, and it has a really clear fucking gameplay loop of force you to deal with hardship on your first hike, and it's tough, right? And then as soon as you get that network up, then other people's ladders and stuff, and they'll help you out, right? And you're like, thanks other people. So it eases it out. And then you go, maybe I'll add a little thing here or there to make it a little easier for other people, right? And this eventually escalates to, why don't I just build things and place things so that the trip between these 2 points becomes deleted? And the trip between these points is functionally instantaneous.
So I've been talking to Min as well, who's been
insane
spending his time.
Yeah, I saw what he did.
Yeah, there's crazy shit like that. And there's also clear indicators that like what you're describing does not necessarily have to be the path. That is the path that you might take if you want to handle the game in that way. But he also said you're very fine just playing through as is and relying on others for their help.
Yes.
And that's okay.
So
the time sink that you're describing is based on your
I'm going to
compulses.
Flatly disagree with Min here. One, because he's wrong, and he fucking built that road before doing anything in that chapter like an insane person, and spent longer building that road than I have with the entire game, including building that entire road, because he didn't get any of the upgrades. But I will also take a direct quote from one Ludwig Forcell.
Oh, about the zip lines and stuff?
The audio director.
Yeah, Ludwig. That's the
who has been watching my streams and who says, quote, "I've been watching your streams and I think you play the game the most perfect way. Hideo would be proud."
Cool.
So, yeah, I disagree with Min. You are totally supposed to build up infrastructure.
You're supposed to do it that way?
And you are supposed to delete these trips using zip lines and roads and ladders. You are reconnecting America, and your work will transfer over into other people's games.
But what if you don't?
Then it'll be harder for you, considerably. There are trips in the mountains that I literally can't believe people are stupid enough to make the trip 10 times on foot before building a zip line or a bridge or something.
Okay. Well, I'll see when I get there.
So, like, for Wooly, I know that you aren't the type of person to grind up shit, for example.
No, that's not true. I'll grind when it's necessary. In this case, though, I am curious because that was a point that he pointed out, but obviously I'm not there yet, so I don't know.
You get to a point in which you're dealing with a lot of mountain passes.
Okay.
And you can either trudge your fucking ass up the straight side of the fucking mountain every time you got to get to the mountaineer, Or you can place like 2 or 3 zip lines that just zip from little peaks to little peaks. And then that trip that took you 40 minutes the first time takes you 90 seconds. And you go, nailed it. Great, done. And pieces of that will zoom into other people's worlds, and you will help them. And you will drown in likes.
Damn,
and
man.
that will give you oxytocin, which makes you happy when you get the likes.
Not oxycodone.
No, Oxycontin is the drug that you take to give you oxytocin.
Okay.
Oxytocin is the natural chemical in your brain. That being said, when you deliver drugs in Death Stranding, you were delivering oxytocin-based drugs. I imagine the reason it's not called Oxycontin is because Oxycontin is a trademarked drug name.
It's interesting that for all the Death Stranding time you've been spending and for all the talk about this stuff, you're simply still referring to navigation and travel and are not at all talking about what the fuck is going on. Have you started to get an inkling?
I would say that I'm about 70% through the game right now. And it follows a very clear Kojima series of devices. Meet character, character setup, character established, blah 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 blah. Like, you know, all the names, all the chapters are named after characters, right? That you'll deal with that character, and at the end of that chapter, that character will look at you and be like, so this is why I'm part of the B&B Corps. And explain to you their life story and why and how the Death Stranding affected them and why it's a big deal. Like, for example, I'm on chapter the next chapter I think I have is Heartman, for example, and I'm gonna go hang out with Heartman, right? And it is
Plot dump man.
It is very B&B core. Like, it is like
Storytell man.
yeah, it is like hilarious because many of the concepts and revelations that you talk to these people about, I've literally never come up once ever. And they're like, "Did you know that this?" And I'm like, "What? That's a thing in this universe?"
I mean, at the end of the day, I guess all I'm kind of wondering is, like, okay, if that's the devices we're using, are these devices completing the fog of war?
Oh, yeah. You're the big fog of war. But in terms of plot...
No. I mean, in terms of what's happening.
So, the first 60% of the game is just more and more and more questions. More things keep happening. And Sam or you go, huh, what? And people go, I don't know, man. Shit's crazy. And I met a prepper called the Spiritualist, and the Spiritualist gave me the first detail in the game as to, that's interesting. That's maybe what this game is, what's really going on here, right? And I have a sneaking suspicion that I am now on the path to go talk to Heartman, and Heartman will tell me what is going on with the deal. The explanation, the plot's revelations for the plot and not the characters is all backloaded. I have spoken with Susie. I've spoken to other people. The game turns into like an explosion, an almost MGS4 level amount of cutscenes the closer you get to the end. Where there are cutscenes that are like an hour. You know, and it's just like...
The message has to come.
The message is time. You had the questions. You reconnected America. It's time for the theme.
Message. Yep. Okay.
It's time for the theme.
Okay.
Being said, the game's great. There is combat.
I would love to see at the end of... I don't know. Whenever this cycle ends... and people get used to things. So maybe a year from now, what the percentage is on those Chivos to see the percentage of people that get to all those cutscenes. Is it still going to be like...
I don't know.
5%?
Well, I mean, compared to an average game, you mean?
Yeah.
Games...
Will it be like the average, or will it be higher?
Game's really interesting in terms of length because I feel like you can do it two ways. You can do it the buildy way or the hard way. And whichever you pick, you're probably going to get the same length of time. because I have built so much shit that now, like, I had a situation happen in which I just had a lot of materials. So I'm like, I just build the next 5 stretches of road. I just do it, right? Which is like 2 kilometers worth of road, right? And that's where that stupid builds road man meme came from. Because I blew like 4 hours on my stream just building roads. And then I got the next mission, like story plot thing. And that was make a trek through dangerous terrain and over mountains and through this mule camp to this location. And I'm like, I literally drove there on the highway that I made. It took me like a minute. So, and like the mountain stuff, it's like you're going to have to go up and down those mountains a bunch. You can either do it the long way every time, or you can build a little network so that the next time you have to do it, it's like, yeah, whatever.
It just takes a while to actually do that.
So either you're going to bust your ass climbing up there, or you're going to bust your ass building a network so you don't have to climb up there again.
Are you literally at a point working with a camera zoomed out like SimCity?
No.
Okay. You're still on foot doing the thing. Okay.
There is one thing that the game desperately needs, and that is the ability to filter the amount of... you know how you look at the map and the light green structures are other people's?
Yep.
And the blue ones are yours?
Yep.
You need the ability to turn other people's off when you look at the map, because you end up with a map just drowning in items, and you need to be able to look at, like, no, what did I build and what do I want to delete so that I can build something else somewhere else. Like, that is a big feature that needs to happen. And like I said before, I have discovered that the game does have combat. It is very rare. It is not emphasized.
I mean, when mules fuck with you, you're in combat, aren't you?
Yeah, but like what I mean is, like, you pick up a gun and start shooting. Like, that exists. And there is depth to the combat with your blood grenades and your guns and stuff like that. With BTs and stuff like that. Like, you eventually get a melee attack for BTs.
Yeah.
Which is what?
Yeah, I didn't a couple of things I definitely was not understanding about the process, but I didn't know that standing still.
Yeah, so neither did I. And then I stood still by accident once, and then all the BTs around me materialized. I'm like, oh, that's how you're supposed to.
Me. Yeah.
That's how you're supposed to figure it out.
Yeah.
And once you figure that out, it's like, oh, well, he's there.
He's there. Yeah.
I'll just go this way now.
I mean, but whenever I've seen them, at least in that first cutscene when you saw them, like, they weren't moving. They were just floating.
Yeah.
They move?
A little. Just a little.
Well, eventually, like when they're chasing you.
Well, when they're chasing you, yeah, they move. But when they're stationary, they move a little. They kind of float around.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and the other thing I didn't know was that chiral was a Latin term for hand.
Wooly, I want to tell you a little story. I don't know if I told this story. But chiral is Greek for hand.
Oh, excuse me.
And it is a big deal. And it also is supposed to represent things that cannot be intersposed on each other, right? So if you put your hands together like a clap with your thumbs touching and all your fingers touching, that's, symmetrical, right? But, no, you got to look at my hands on this one.
I can see them.
If you put the palm of your left hand on top of your right hand, right, they kind of fit, right? Mm-hmm. But your thumbs stick out, right?
Yep.
That's chiral. It can't be interspaced. So I used that explanation to talk to Paige the night that chiral came up in the game, only to get a goddamn interview unlocked the next day that uses that exact analogy of placing your hands on top of one of each other.
Okay.
So, Wooly, you know how we made jokes about themes?
Yes. It's actually relevant.
Wooly, hands, the shape of a human hand, is actually the most overwhelmingly ever-present theme in the game. When BTs walk around, it's hands. When BTs leave their crystals on the floor, it looks like hands. When void outs happen, there's a big hand. The Odra deck, I don't know if you've noticed, but when you get out of BT areas, it gives you a thumbs up or waves. Because it's a hand. And you know how you reconnect with people? You clasp hands. And you know what your symbol of the thing with the people is? It's handcuffs.
And you know what hand rhymes with?
Strand. Hands across America. Game's incredible. I completely understand why people hate it. I think it's the only game I've ever played that I feel this way. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they're like, my brother says this game sucks. I'm like, yeah.
Probably.
Okay. Your brother's not wrong.
Yeah.
I think the game's incredible. I'm enjoying it so much. But yeah, it sucks.
No, you can tell on the outset who this is for and who this is not. Especially when you're have very detailed strategies and descriptions of how to rebuild those roads and zip lines.
Yeah.
That's for some people. That's not for others.
Well, I mean, like, hey, how pissed off do you get when you're trucking? Okay, Wooly, you're trucking, right? You got your truck, and that truck is filled with 4,000 metal and 3,000 ceramics, and you gotta go like 10 kilometers. You're trucking, right? You go off road for a second.
I'm trucking.
Because I mean, there's no more road. That's why you're doing this, right? You got to build some road.
Off road.
So you're trucking, right?
Trucking.
But you've been trucking for so long. That your truck's battery is almost dead, right?
Uh-oh.
And you're like, I think I can jump that fucking, that river, that tiny little river, man.
Hell yeah.
I think I can truck it. And then you fuck up, and then your truck falls in the river.
Fuck.
And then the battery dies, and your truck stalls out.
Shit.
And you're like, fuck. I was trucking. And now I ain't trucking no more.
All those resources.
And then Norman Reedus goes, oh, fuck this.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait, if I use my PCC to build a generator right next to the river, it can juice this thing's battery up, so I'm trucking. And then you truck some more. And then you get there, and you dump the fucking materials into that road, and then that road goes right over that river that you just fucking fell into, and you're like, yeah, now the next time I'm out here, no river, no worry about the rain or BTs, just trucking.
Yep.
And if that makes you feel like, yeah, trucking, then yeah. But if it doesn't, you're fucked.
I could definitely experience joy in that. Once I get there, depending on how it goes. I have to see how it goes. But I will say this, on the plus side, I have done more mundane things to find out the ending of a story.
Yeah. What's the worst one?
I mean,
you're playing Nuns right now. Hey, whoa, hey, oh.
Yeah, like I've done like I've played walking simulators. I've played through Gone Home. I've played through whatchamacallit, I've done the Triforce quests. I've done, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you know what?
I'll do stuff to get to the end of the story.
You know what? I think the game's biggest success is, I mean, I did that little story there, but every hour or so that I played that game, I got some kind of upgrade that would make trucking just a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Mm-hmm. I got like, hey man, here's a climbing rope that's way more durable and has 6 uses.
Yeah, and I noticed that each of these conversations swerves harder and harder away from the story and more towards trucking.
There's a lot of trucking, man.
And you
Chapter 3,
you're enjoying it.
Chapter 3 to, let's say, 10 might as well, like, they're called Fragile and Mama and Dead Man, you know, should just be one big chapter called trucking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But it's not, and like, if you were just trying to avoid spoilers, like, this would be a different type of conversation, because I know how you get when those things happen.
I don't think...
But it's not. This is not that. This is you genuinely like. Yeah, the story's there.
It's there.
But more importantly,
I
zip lines, roads, and trucking.
More importantly than that, Wooly, if I need to get from the the Timefall farm to deliver some beer to fucking Lake Knot, I don't have to even get in a truck anymore. I can just zip line it.
Okay, and do you remember us watching that trailer when at the Game Awards?
Yeah.
And how we were staring at God knows what, going, what is this? What?
Yeah.
Like, the lack of that feeling in you is very confusing.
No, so let me tell you this. All of that is going to be somewhat clear by the trip into chapter 3.
Yeah.
Then the plot will then become what exactly is the nature of the Death Stranding, which is the long question.
Yeah.
But underneath that is the physical journey path. So it goes philosophical weirdness, the practical concern of 90% of the game, and then when I finish that trip, I will go back to the philosophical weirdness.
Because I feel like visually, I am over encumbered, rucking down a mountainside.
Yeah, rucking,
sweating, dirty,
bloody feet,
filled to bursting with piss.
Yeah,
trying to reach that answer, floating in the distance.
Yeah.
Visually indicated by Kojima's smile.
There's a lot
fading into the horizon.
There's a lot of breadcrumbing here. There's a lot of breadcrumbing.
I feel, whereas you have loaded up your big rig, you put on your big hat, and you went,
Wooly, did you not get your big hat?
And you
not get it yet?
No.
You get a big old trucking hat.
And I feel like you
trucking.
are very comfortably just rolling down the road, letting the open highway make its way to you. And if some sort of events were to happen eventually at some point along the lines, then that's the way the road rolls.
I disagree with that. And the reason why is because
breaker.
The primary theme of like chapters 1 through wherever I'm at are Reconnect America. And the gameplay is literally reconnect these locations.
Okay.
And it is talking to people and being like, dude, it is such a big deal that we can now talk to you. They're like, my baby would have fucking died without these antibiotics.
So you know what you got to do now?
What's that?
You got to go back and listen to Convoy and see if that song has a new meaning for you.
I do have one thing to tell you, Wooly. I took a look I just skimmed around at a random in one of the Wooly vs. Death Stranding episodes upon your delivery of some items. And they were like, I don't know, man, this shit seems kind of banged up. And you were like, I swear to God, if this is going to be the kind of game where I'm fucking hauling my ass over a mountain only for some motherfucker to tell me that it's a little banged up and piss on me, that we're going to have a problem, you're going to have a fucking problem, Wooly. You're going to have some fucking problems. Okay? Because that's the trucking life right there. So you fucking trudged your ass through terrorists and ghosts and mountains to deliver 117 kilos of high performance underwear. And you get there and the box is a little scuffed and they're like, the fuck is this? The fuck is this bullshit? Can't believe it. B.
Okay. Got it. Bodes well.
Needs to be a button for Sam to go, you motherfucker. I had to piss on ghosts to get you your high performance underwear. Do you even care?
Do you get less likes? Of course you do.
Of course you do. Well, you know the stars that build up on the places you go to when you deliver something?
Yep.
Those are contingent on your likes.
Yep.
Not even your ranking, because the ranking creates likes, and then the likes create stars. And do you know what you get when you hit rank 5 with a person? You get a tiny little star that Sam can pin to his pant leg. And you know why that is? Because Sam has blue and red stripes going down the arms of his jacket. And if you 5-star everyone, you will have a row of stars on your pant leg.
There you go.
Thus, Sam will become the living embodiment of the United American flag.
Yep. All together.
Reconnecting America.
American. Yep.
And it's like, holy shit, are you fucking serious?
I'm just wilding out a little bit because I guess my head, I didn't know what to expect, so I almost expected nothing. But I definitely would not have expected the progression of events to go towards like your optimal way. Okay, in everything, the optimal way of dealing with the problem is to not deal with it. Right?
Yeah, it's to delete the problem.
But I thought there was going to be at least a buildup of like, here are the things that you will use to fight the ghosts.
There totally is.
Yeah, there's grenades, right?
No, there are like a dozen anti-ghost weapons.
Okay.
There are a lot.
Okay.
You gain many, many ways.
Anti-ghost problem.
You get 4 different types of grenades.
Okay.
You get a straight up gun.
Okay.
A different gun
for
an
a
assault
second,
rifle.
Oh, the guns are for the ghosts.
A knife.
The guns are not for the people?
They're both.
Okay. Because I thought that, like, for a second, you were describing things that were, like, get better at running from the ghosts.
No, you can get a non-lethal assault rifle that will fire rubber
will
bullets.
We just play the game? Obviously, we're having a conversation.
You can get a non-lethal assault rifle that will fire either rubber bullets.
Asking questions, yes.
Or blood bullets. Right? And if you throw a blood grenade at a BT and you know that blood cloud, right?
Yeah.
And you shoot through that cloud with the blood bullets do double damage.
Yeah.
Right? The BTs are such a non-issue for me at the current point in the game that every time I encounter them, I allow myself to get caught so that I can kill the boss and pick up crystals.
Yeah.
Because I am fucking these things up.
You know, it occurs to me that the answers to everything I'm wondering lie ahead with me just playing the game. So let's just stop the conversation.
All right, let's stop the conversation. All right, let's stop talking about the game.
Let's just stop talking about it.
Yeah, we're nothing to talk about.
Those are my answers.
Not like we have an audience.
All
here.
I have to do is play the game and
just
I'll find out.
Play the fucking game, man.
So let's just end it.
Okay,
Pulling out.
Game's good. It's really good. It's terrible.
Let's do the news.
It's news. Hey, Stadia sucks. That's the news.
I mean, for which reasons?
It's killing people's Chromecasts.
That's the place to start. This one comes to us from CNN.
Not a tech website. Not some guy's blog. CNN reports
some Google users. Oh God, what an awful website! Fuck off. Some Google Stadia users, customers say that their Chromecasts are overheating. Apparently, someone said on Reddit, I was in the middle of a fight in Destiny 2 when suddenly my Chromecast died and lost connectivity to the network. I went to unplug it from the power and it was extremely hot. Someone else said, mine has overheated and shut off twice now.
So I went to that Reddit thread. That Reddit thread might be the perfect encapsulation of a company trying to go, shh, nah, man. Because the guy says, I was playing Destiny, right? And it shut off, and he couldn't turn it off without unplugging it, right? So it was fucking hot, right? And he's like, I don't know, man. Is this a problem other people are happening? Reply number 1 is a Google employee Stadia account going, we extensively tested the Stadia in all sorts of conditions and determined that it has no significant chance of overheating your Chromecast. Please contact customer support at yada yada to see if there's something wrong with your unit.
During normal usage, the surface of the device may get warm to the touch. This is working as designed. Using your Chromecast to stream Stadia games is very similar to using it to stream TV shows and movies.
Right. Followed to, I would say, reply to that Google post was like 100 people going, yeah, no, mine totally did the same thing yesterday. Yeah, it shut off like 10 times. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with it.
Well, the most shocking thing about that is that hundreds of people are
Yes.
implying that hundreds of people purchased it.
Well, I have a piece of data on that for later. But just the whole thread, just tons and tons of people. I saw a breakdown today on tips on how to keep your Stadia from overheating, which is crack open the device and leave it open and then slap 2 extra heat sinks on it.
Oh my God.
That'll solve it.
The little fucking piece of plastic.
Yeah. Just crack it open, put some heat sinks on it. So Stadia is overheating because it's taken it's a lot of juice. It's only very similar to streaming video, but yet it's overheating people's things. I also spoke with a friend of mine who works a lot in game development, and he started laughing his ass off and goes, "Yeah, we tested it in the cooled test room, not in Jimbo's overheated fucking TV entertainment system with the glass closed."
I have a Chromecast hooked up to a monitor that's inside of a closed closet.
Yeah,
that the TV fits inside of because
that's the
where
way
it
furniture
sits.
for that shit is made.
And it's a little USB dongle. You don't have to think about it.
Nah, you do.
You have to think about the ventilation going to my dongle.
That's right.
Unless you check the ad earlier in the podcast.
There we go. Okay, so the things are overheating. This is known. Well, do you know why they're overheating, Wooly? Because despite Stadia's promises of 4K 60 FPS gameplay that are rock solid, it might not be able to hit those numbers, that performance. Whose fault is that?
The developers.
That's right. It is the developer's fault.
Sorry, it took me a second.
Yes.
I was about to say Google, but
no, that's silly.
no.
It is Bungie and Capcom and SNK's fault.
Sorry, I didn't really because okay, you very hurriedly
deftly
moved into the second story.
It's all one big mega story in my mind.
Because the second story is that
fucking unbelievable.
They promised performance. I believe it was 4K for everyone, 60 for everyone.
At like 200 megabits per second or some shit. Like very reasonable internet speeds.
And that's not happening.
Hell no, it's not.
And Google's response has been that they didn't lie about anything.
Nah, man.
We designed Stadia to enable 4K 60 with appropriate TVs and bandwidth. We want all games to play it, but sometimes for artistic reasons, a game is 4K 30, so Stadia always streams at 4K 60 via 2x encode. And then the later description where Destiny 2 was brought up as not at all running at 4K, but in fact running at 1080p upscaled. Yeah, essentially they say we give the developers all the tools they need to make it do the thing. So it's on them to make it do the thing.
Yeah. It's the developer's fault that the game runs bad.
The weird part for me was when I was looking at like Sam Show footage and some other
that Sam Show footage is unbelievable.
Because you're looking at multiplayer games and the core idea here is not even like the delivery of the video to your TV. It's the fact that there's lag happening in a Google server to Google server match.
Yeah.
That is not the delivery of the video to your screen. It's the match itself.
Yeah.
Which is like, what the fuck?
And it's like the devices are within, what, 30 feet from one another?
One would imagine, if not
Shouldn't they be part of the same local hub? Aren't they technically the same device? Like,
if you own a Stadia, please do not have it anywhere that is flammable.
The Stadia match of Sam Show that within 5 seconds crashes to a web browser is the most incredible thing.
Yeah. Do not hold your Stadia Grand Finals tournaments on bales of hay.
In a dry wind plane.
Perhaps nowhere near a mushroom field.
Don't do it. So the info data I have for you, Wooly, and this data is 2 days old, so it might be slightly higher. The app that you need to download to buy Stadia games, the Google Stadia app on your phone, which I only recently found out. Did you know it only works with Pixel phones?
You could only use the app
only work on Pixel phones
to buy games.
Yes, so there have been multiple reviews. Like I saw like Giant Bomb and another guy, I think his name is Tech Jesus. I forget his channel's name, in which they described like being literally unable to turn the fucking thing on because they had to find somebody in their office that had a Pixel.
So wait, like I have a Chromecast.
Do you have a Pixel?
Steph does.
Lucky you.
You can't activate it.
No.
Come on.
Yes.
that would be a bigger story.
It'd be a bigger story.
That seems insane.
It'd be a bigger story if people cared.
That seems completely ludicrous.
That app has been downloaded 177,000 times, which means the current, which it's kind of crazy because you never get like accurate console sale data.
Yeah.
The absolute maximum amount of Stadia owners right now is 177K.
Yeah.
Which is bad.
Or it's more, but they don't actually have the ability to activate their consoles.
So they don't bother. That's bad. That's really bad. That's a big old flop. I also found it hilarious. I saw it via image macro. I knew it, but I never put it together. Phil Harrison is behind this launch, right?
Yeah.
You know Phil Harrison. People. He worked at Sony and he's worked at Microsoft.
Yep.
Do you remember what product launches he was responsible for?
Was it Xbox original?
Nope, it was the Xbox One.
Okay.
Do you know what console he was responsible for helping launch at Sony? The PS3. Dude's just a good luck charm, ain't he?
He's got a resume.
He sure does. I know how to launch a product badly.
Well, I would like to...
It's 3 for 3. Those are the 3 worst launches of products in this space over the past 10 years.
Direct everyone's attention to some fun stuff on Twitter.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Although
you are one of the only people in the world following that account. I don't know if it's fake.
After last week, I was like, could this just be sprung up as a part of the defense squad that I'm sure I said could easily come into existence? And then it connects to Reddit posts, and then those Reddit posts start to sound very sad, and then you go, oh no, this might be someone having a hard time.
This might be real.
This might be someone having a hard time in life.
What Twitter account are you referring to?
I'm talking about @StadiaWorks.
@StadiaWorks. I just joined. I'm the 753rd follower.
All right. Posting the dankest memes.
The fucking dankest Stadia memes available.
Like straight from the Kush bush.
This is my favorite tweet of it so far. I find it so funny that the only people having issues with Stadia are the YouTubers that have been hating on it since day one. And you know what people I'm talking about at IGN, at Rerez TV, and at Dreamcast Guy. Didn't we this coming?
Now it's important to catch the theming there because there was an earlier established point on the bio of the account.
Yes, well, yeah.
If you would.
Yes. Oh, no. Stadia works. Don't believe the haters.
So, haters becomes a recurring theme. Also, photos of the same meme of stop having fun.
Well, all people are staring at the Stadia logo, not a game, granted.
Yeah.
The Stadia logo, as ostensibly the game fails to load.
Yeah, I'm calling work.
YouTubers said it was bad. Stop having fun.
Yeah, I'm calling work. You know, the nature of the spelling errors and the often repeated "I have a learning disability." That is like, I just
found it.
Why is this here? Right? Makes me think work.
I've got learning difficulties, and I can still see the way the future is going. So these people that are lying to themselves saying, who is Stadia for? Well, I am sorry, but you are clueless.
So I'm calling work based on that. And if not, then also very unfortunate.
Hey, Iranoki on our chat asks a really good question that I'm sure people at the home listening to this in audio format would like to know. Wooly, what the fuck is a work?
Oh, a work is what a wrestler does when they're trying to convince you that something fake is real.
Yes, a shoot is when a wrestler tells you something that is actually real.
Yes.
So, a wrestler being chokeslammed through the ring and being labeled as having died is a work.
Yes.
That same wrestler going, that motherfucker chokeslammed me in the wrong spot and I really hurt my back, is a shoot.
Yes.
These are carny wrestling terms for psychos.
Big Boss Man dragging a casket
Paul
Big
White's
Show's father hitched up to his big truck.
Yeah.
That's
a work.
That's a work.
Big Boss Man feeding Al Snow his chihuahua as chili.
Yeah.
That's a work.
Yeah. The Stadia working
is a work.
That's a work.
Developers coming out going, we're afraid to put much time into the development of these games because we're afraid that the system won't exist in 3 or 4 years. That's a shoot.
Here's the problem, though. If you press the on button on a device and a light turns on,
yeah,
can one not say that the device is working? It has worked.
You can say the power is working on the device.
It turns on. It does work. If you want to get, if you want to go back to fucking the science class with it,
yeah,
effort,
yeah,
and force is being generated
by
the electricity,
yeah,
surging through the device. Therefore, work.
This is interesting because this
as a scientific term is being created.
This is actually fascinating because I always, whenever I say a thing works or doesn't work, I tend to label it really specifically as, does this thing do the thing it told me it was going to do?
Yeah, the QA term for work, which is functions as designed or as intended.
Yeah. So by that like metric, like even if the Stadia turns on and allows you to play games, I still say it doesn't work because it doesn't do what it's telling me it does. It told me it was the future. It told me it would have negative latency.
I mean, it is the future. You can't stop that part of it.
Oh, yeah? You want to bet?
You don't think we're going to hit a future where streaming services for video games are not going to be like a commonly like used thing for a lot of people? Ever?
I think the Stadia kind of nails it because Google is a part-time ISP and can't get this fucking thing off the ground. The infrastructure isn't there. And also, flat out, the speed of light is too slow. Unless you have distributed computing centers like this in every major city and also interspersed around the fucking wilderness and the plains and every part of every country.
Oh, it's gonna be garbage. The thought that I'm having is if it's presented to people in a way that let me think about a scenario, for example, right? What if you were to go on, like if it was presented in a way in the least like intrusive side purchase necessary type of way possible. For example, someone on their phone, they have an iPhone, they go to the App Store. On the App Store, they see a download for what is something giant people are going to care about? Whatever. Halo. A Halo button, right? And then it says download Halo, and all it actually does is install the Halo stream, right? And then Microsoft themselves are going to hook you up and stream Halo to your phone. Yeah. And then it's like plug in your controller, and now you're playing Halo. Right. And you only had to pay $2 for it.
Yeah.
People will use that service even when it's garbage.
Yeah.
You know? It just because
if the price is right.
If the price is right and if it's just that easy to start doing it.
Right, but here's the thing. The price on these things will always be wrong. Because the infrastructure you have to build, you either have to have an existing infrastructure available, which Microsoft totally has, or you have to build one.
And people have to be on Wi-Fi. They can't be on fucking data.
and it's going to be... You know what I see as the future of streaming games? Games being huge. Games being massive downloads. And it being like... You know how PlayStation said, hey, you're going to be able to start every game, and then every developer just made it so you could hit the title screen before the rest of the game downloaded? I can see situations like, yes, you can totally start every game. And when you start playing the game, you are streaming it. And then you'll hit a load screen when enough of the game is downloaded, and you'll be playing it. And that is how it will work, so that you can actually start anything instantly.
And then transfer your save over and load it up, and then make it
but local hardware is not going away until we have a massive... Until the entirety of North America and Europe is sea to shining sea in fiber,
Yeah.
then this is not happening.
Like, we've had different versions of this conversation. At the moment, I don't know if it's about hardware going away as much as it is about, like, market share, I guess, for going away. But then again, you might be dealing with people that never would have bothered anyway. So.
Well, Wooly, I have good news for you. While Stadia appears to be a bust, luckily enough, Amazon is talking about jumping into the fray.
There sure are.
Shortly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that'll go great too. What can the world's richest man not do?
Keep his fucking DMs out of the public eye.
Pay his taxes? Whatever. But, like, the day after Stadia came out, Amazon rumors were going around, and I've never seen a more heartfelt no thanks, Jeff, to this fucking thing. It's too early. These things are... Wooly, let's go back and talk about Death Stranding. If I want to deliver 2,000 kilos of ceramics to the mountains, I need roads and a zip line. If not, those ceramics are going to be damaged and fucked. You know what this is an analogy for?
The ghosts are going to get you.
Packets. Yes, the BTs are packet loss. They are line jitter.
They will grab your packets and your gameplay and steal it.
I lost a packet. What do I do now?
I don't know. The match of Samurai Showdown has returned to the web browser.
Fucking unbelievable.
There's
nothing to talk about until the ISP situation
the infrastructure changes.
And that's what you said, like, as soon as Stadia got announced.
Yeah.
The first thing, you're like, on what lines?
But
on what cables?
But in the eyes and understanding of, like, these tech giants,
these geniuses,
it's too early means it's the perfect time to strike, because remember, in tech, early means you're beating everyone else.
That's right.
Ahead of your time is good.
Let's ignore the fact that now when Google tries this idea again in, let's say, 10 years, everyone's going to go, wasn't the last time you tried this a miserable disaster?
The only apps that matter nowadays, yes, but, like, the only apps that matter nowadays all have one thing in common. They came from a place that was ahead of their time.
Oh, yes.
Right? Whatever the service was.
Maybe I'm not a tech giant or a hyper billionaire or any of these.
What's a hyper billionaire?
Somebody who has more than 1 billion.
That's a multi-billionaire.
You know what? I'm saying hyper billionaire. I'm going to say that. Anyway. But I always thought that if you made a good product that worked, that people might buy it.
Yes, just like that guy that sells those computer how-to discs. He just says, "Buy my product. It's a good product.
It's a good product. It works.
I hope you enjoy it."
I mean, I've gone to this before, and you gave me a little chuckle, but I'm like, the Coca-Cola ad in The Invention of Lying, in which a man on a white background says, "It's Coca-Cola. You know what it is. Have a Coke," is the greatest ad of all time.
Yeah.
Because when I buy a Coca-Cola, do you know what I get? A Coca-Cola. And I drink it, and I'm like, yeah, that was a Coke. Good day. Good session, Coke.
You are not the target audience.
When I buy a Amazon Basics USB extension cable, something that I do with alarming regularity, and I plug it in, and it extends my USB cable, and then I forget about it until it's the time to buy another USB cable, I go, yeah, that worked. Good, thanks, Amazon. Now, if I bought an Amazon Basics USB cable and it came out of that box and it fucking didn't work at all, I would go, fuck them. I'm going to buy the shitty Anchor ones or whatever. That's how it works with the Stadia. See, when you bought a PlayStation or a Nintendo or a Genesis or whatever the fuck, almost nobody ever ran into this situation in which the thing didn't fucking turn on.
No, definitely not. But bells and whistles do matter.
Yeah. But you never thought to yourself, well, I can never buy a Microsoft console again because these things don't work out the box. What you did do is say, I don't know, I don't think I can buy another Sega console or Microsoft console because the things burn the fuck out in 2 years.
I mean, there's nothing we're saying that's new in terms of just like how to approach this, because it's like we talked about the arrogance last time, and it takes a level of arrogance to step into this field that is not prepared for your service and just assume that you're like, nope, it'll be fine.
We're building roads on mud.
We're doing it our way. And to some degree, a lot of the new service, the new tech service industry is also built on that audacity, because if you think about it, right? Look at Disney Plus right now.
Yes.
Right? Stepping in and just going, yeah, fuck you, Netflix. Fuck everything else over here, though. Right?
And you go, it's a shame there's no other way to watch things on Disney Plus.
And then they go,
it's just impossible.
Yeah, and then they grab all the stuff that was on other services and they go, no, it's over here now.
Yeah.
You want it, it's over here.
And only there.
Mm-hmm. That's the
definitely
only way.
Not anywhere else either.
So then they do things that way, and it takes a certain audacity to sort of just step into, the race, as it were.
Yeah.
And just use your clout to carry
us now.
Yeah, that's all this is. All I'm saying is this is just a regular practice for them. It fits in with the way they've handled every other foray.
It's fucking so bad. It's so bad.
And at the end of the day, it's probably going to just look like any other failed project that they've had, and not the hilarious thing that it is for people that are up to date with gaming news all the time, like we are.
I'm gonna look up, because there's a fucking. The guy who looks like Jesus. Is it Gaming Nexus that does... Gaming Nexus is the YouTube channel that did a fucking review of Stadia when they couldn't turn it on. They bought a retail copy of the system, put out a review 2 days later describing how they literally never got a code and couldn't turn the fucking thing on, and then describe their controller breakdown and how the controller is like a mess as well, by the way, like in terms of its construction, and go into it, and it's a fucking trip of a video. But like, here's the review: doesn't turn on. Right? Like, I feel like all the conversations we have about the Stadia are laughably stupid, considering there are people who bought the thing and it just straight up doesn't turn on because they didn't get codes in their email.
Well, the only thing worse than it doesn't turn on is it turns on and catches on fire.
Yeah, which is also a thing.
Like,
why are we even talking about this anymore? Do you want a brick or do you want a fucking hot coal?
All right. Other things going on, not a ton, but is what it is.
Fucking.
We had footage of Half-Life Alyx.
Yes, the newly announced VR game.
Floaty Hands. Coming in March 2020.
A game in which people went, oh my god, there's a new Half-Life. And then Valve comes out and says, it takes place between Half-Life 1 and 2. And you go...
Is that not what people wanted to hear? Is that...
Episode 2 ended on a cliffhanger back in like 2007? And I put a tweet out that was, I got the dates wrong, but it's basically, I'm glad I got to wait a decade or 15 years for a new Half-Life game, only to be told that it will have nothing to do with the cliffhanger that I've waited on this entire time.
It's a full size entry, though.
It's also not entirely made by Valve.
Oh, really?
Yeah, what's the guy, Firewatch devs? Project Ocampo?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're making it. And they have now... You remember In the Valley of the Gods, the game they announced?
No.
Okay, they announced a game called In the Valley of the Gods. And good luck finding information about that now, because they killed the website and scraped release date information off the internet. Because that game is dead now.
Oh, that's...
And has been just straight up replaced with Half-Life Alyx.
Okay.
And the reason why this game exists is because Valve themselves are coming out with a VR solution. I think it's called the Index. Which
VR Index.
Which apparently is a big fancy VR thing that is going to be the one. And just like with other initiatives that Valve undertakes, like Half-Life 2 most famously, they go, we need a killer app for this fucking thing. Build us a killer app so that people go, you got to get Index to play this fucking thing. They did that for Half-Life 2 and Steam, if you remember, which worked really well for them.
Campo Santo is a part of Valve now.
Oh, well, that explains that.
I see.
Which, I wouldn't even say it upset, as disappointed as I am, this is totally a Valve way of doing things, where at least they think... Too many of these VR things came out without killer apps. Without the thing of, like, you need to do that. Like, you know, Rez was the shit, right? But Rez is still... I mean, it's a re-release of a game that's been re-released over and over, right? There needs to be a VR-only game that is like, holy shit, this is the future, gang.
Apparently Index is already out.
Index is out?
Apparently.
Well...
So there's that.
So Index is out, and it's not doing the numbers they wanted to, so put a Half-Life game on it.
Yeah, do they? What's the price on the Index? What do we know?
$1,000.
About this? Like, because I'm like, this is the first time I'm hearing about
it's
it.
$1,000
alongside this announcement for this game.
Apparently, it's the high quality VR headset.
Is it? So it's rivaling the Vive as opposed to
$1,300.
The PSVR.
I'm looking at.
You know, what do we... Because, like, yeah, that's the other thing. And is it self-contained as well? Because self-contained is also...
Is it a good VR thing, everybody?
Self-contained
is it better than Oculus?
Thing.
Higher res than Vive.
Okay.
It's fancy.
Yeah.
You know what I need to get into VR? I need a VR headset that I can play in my fucking living room.
Well, I was about to say that, like, the idea of just like, so are you gonna buy 4 headsets? What are we doing here?
I don't know, dude. I bought PSVR.
Yeah.
And I played it in our office, and it was rad. Mm-hmm. And then I never once got it working properly at my house.
Mm-hmm. I did. It took a lot of work. The camera had to be positioned in a lot of weird ways and have light supplemental.
And then I looked at a Vive, and it's like, install these trackers in your home. I'm like, I'm not doing that.
So I was having a think about maybe buying the Quest, because the idea of having it self-contained was very appealing to me, because it didn't have to be in the living room or anywhere for that matter. It was self-contained. I like that idea a lot.
Yeah.
So I was actually considering that. But, who fucking knows?
I saw somebody say, what? But PSVR is so easy. Yeah, if it works. The problem with the VR solutions is that you are dealing with technology that is also in like dealing with the physical constraints of every different person's home, which depending on lighting conditions, space available. Like, hey, in my current place, I got a big fucking coffee table in front of me that's massive and is not going to move, and a couch. Can I play VR games sitting down or even just standing up without moving around? Great. Anything other than that? No. It's not going to happen. Ever. And most people's living rooms are like that.
Thing, though, is VR does need more games like this, which are...
Games.
Full games.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it needs to be at a point where they don't have to put qualifiers that say this is a full game, as opposed to like a 10-minute demo. Because like I think everyone kind of got used to the fact that when you boot up something in VR, it's not going to be a full experience.
Yeah. This is going to be a tech demo or like a aquarium or whatever.
And to be fair, like, how much money are you going to spend on something that's going to be extremely limited in its audience? So it's understandable. But
all right, so the VR people are getting very upset. The Half-Life Alyx game will be available on all VR devices. Probably not PSVR. I don't think so. But what? Okay, everybody, calm down. Okay? It's still a push for Valve's own index thing because they'll say that it plays best on Valve's own device.
I saw. Who was it? Someone, was it Randy? Yeah, I think Randy tweeted.
Oh yeah, Randy got super pissy,
and he said and it said exclusively for the index.
Yeah, it said a bunch of stupid shit that nobody.
And everyone went, "That's not true."
Everyone's like, "Randy, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about." Go back to jerking it to your fucking USB stick. And fighting people. You dumb bitch.
So there's that.
I think there's a level of infamy associated with the fact that we're only using his first name. Because when I hear Randy now, in my brain goes, "Shut the fuck up, Randy."
Well, now there's a new Randy in my brain.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
What's that?
Randy Andy.
Who?
That's the name they had for good old Prince Andrew, who was known as Randy Andy back in the day. Oh, you so Randy. Up to no good. All right.
VR sucks. Is Subverse gonna have fucking VR in it? Because there's your killer app. People buy that.
Is that a place? What is
Subverse? It's the Kickstarter pornography game.
Oh.
Made by the Studio FOW people.
Yes. That's where the prince can live now that he's been kicked out of Buckingham Palace. Hey, everybody.
Yeah, what up, gang?
Devil May Cry 3 is coming out on the Switch.
Full price.
You should probably get the trilogy.
On any other platform. Where it's a third of the price.
It's cool to hear that Devil May Cry 3 is coming out on the Switch, but you should probably just buy the trilogy.
It's fucking dumb that it is like... Can you get the fucking trilogy on the PC? Is that available?
I don't know, but I assure anybody that has a Switch...
Oh, it's $20? It is $20 on the Switch? Okay, we're wrong. You can get it. You can get that.
Okay.
That actually makes it a better value than the trilogy, because the trilogy cost $40, but it had DMC2 in it.
Yeah, but you get one as well.
Yeah, but I mean, in 2020, that's $40, right?
Just buy the fucking
trilogy. And you don't have to look at DMC2.
Just,
you can pretend it doesn't exist.
Just buy the trilogy.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
DMC trilogy.
Stop it.
Is that on a PC? Trilogy. Not cryobiology. What the fuck?
Unless you very specifically want DMC3 on the go and you have no other way to do it, then in which case, I suppose this is your only option.
It's on the personal computer.
Because what else are you supposed
Devil
to
May
do?
Cry HD collection on the Steam. It totally is on the PC.
Trilogy?
Yeah.
Of course it is. That's what I bought.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Error.
That's where I played it.
That's crazy.
That's what we fucking LP'd?
No, it wasn't. It was on the PS4.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
We had download notifications for the next games coming out in the LP, remember?
Then I played it at home on PC then.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm going to pick that up when I go home. Those games are great.
That's where all those wacky multiplayer mods come from.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Also on the Switch, Trover Saves the Universe comes out on...
Shut up, Morty.
Comes out on, like, this week, actually.
Comes out on, like, this week.
Yep. The 28th.
Morty.
So, basically. So, that shit was fucking hilarious when I played the demo at PAX. And if you are on board with the Rick and Morty funny, then you should check this out. Because it doesn't have the Rick and Morty fan base. It just has the Rick and Morty funny associated. Yeah. So, you know, we'll wait to see where that goes. But yeah,
I don't know about this Trover.
It's pretty good. It was good. You got it. Hey, so this is a funny, wacky, fucking silly ass one.
All right.
But, I'm going to hand you something here.
All right. What are you gonna hand
And
me?
tell me what you.
What the?
So here, I'm handing
All right.
you. This is a Super Nintendo cartridge, specifically a Super Famicom cartridge.
Oh, this is a nice package.
Yes. I'd like you to look at that package and identify the character on the cover of that.
All right. Well, this is a Capcom package of Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
Mm-hmm.
It has a CG. Wait, is this what? Is a CG character on it?
Nah, it's just a rendering. But who is that?
It's not Chun-Li.
Are you sure? Who is that? What character is on the cover?
It's
of that?
not. Is
this the first time you've seen this?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Japanese cover of Street Fighter 2 Turbo for on Super Famicom. Yeah. Who is that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. That's not Chun-Li or Ryu.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
What makes you so sure?
Doesn't look like them in the face.
Okay.
It looks like a young man, but like that's not Ryu.
So for 26 years, this debate has raged online as people have looked at this cartridge and said, "Who the fuck is that, though?" In Japan, at least. And someone brought it back up and took a look at it. Now, it's pretty fucking funny because, admittedly, you're like, that? Okay, we can argue this. We can have an argument here.
It's a Japanese or Chinese person in their 20s
It is
brown hair and brown eyes.
Yes. It is unclear.
It looks like Ryo from Shenmue more than anything.
It could kind of go all ways a little bit, but I've always maintained that was Chun-Li.
All right.
And the reason why I maintain that was Chun-Li is because I'm holding here the Street Fighter 2 World Warrior,
which has got Ryu on it
which very clearly has Ryu.
He's got a
on
red
it.
headband.
He's got a red headband.
Yeah.
And this is, what came out first.
Right.
So that was second. Therefore, I assumed it was just a logical one after the other. But that answer was not always clear to everybody back in the day. 26 years later, we have confirmation on the Street Fighter 2 Japanese Famicom Super Nintendo cartridge. There was a poll held online that had people voting as to whether or not this was Ryu or Chun-Li. It was 80% voted for Chun-Li, 20% voted for Ryu. And Capcom artists did confirm that this was in fact Chun-Li. And then you can see the Ryu render right underneath it in an ad that was put out for Street Fighter 2.
Looks nothing
way
like
back
Chun-Li.
in 1992. So there's a little bit of a white headband behind her that you can see. And it's like, well, in the alpha era, the headband was white, so you might have that sort of argument to make. But here, the only person with white on their head at the time was Chun-Li. Therefore, it made perfect sense. And that's the end of that story. Mystery solved. A mystery that you didn't know existed 10 seconds ago. Yeah, it's a weird one. It's a weird crop. They could have done more to help the identity, including making one of her little buns stick out.
Anything, dude. And also, that doesn't look like Chun-Li.
This was before Chun-Li had a look. This was back when there was a couple of Akiman sketches, one or two renders, but it was still up for debate. Like, think about how Mega Man had a look, but then and then there was a couple other looks before they settled on one.
It's me, Mega Man.
Yeah, it takes a while to settle on a look.
Mega Man. It's fucking Mega Man. Oh man.
A couple of other little bits here. Not a big deal with this story here. There's a Guilty Gear cross Mistover collaboration.
The fuck's Mistover?
Mistover is that like kind of, I think it's Japanese, but it's kind of like Darkest Dungeon cross anime.
Oh, good
looking
fucking
game. Have you not seen that?
No,
thing?
man.
It's Darkest Dungeon cross cutesy anime.
Are they cute little anime
They're
girls?
cute little animes
Oh,
walking
man.
around the Darkest Dungeon.
You know
looking
me.
thing.
Big weakness for them cute anime girls because they're anime.
Yeah.
And I like anime. You ever hear about anime? Boy, that anime.
And it is, in fact, in tune with the fact that Faust is about to show up
Anime.
any minute now. So,
Faust, he likes them cute anime girls too.
Dr. Baldhead?
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, whatever. There's that happening. There's an announcement that the FF7 remake will have new bosses.
That's unshocking.
So,
We saw one in a trailer.
and they're already working on the next part.
Good. So that means we're in the polished state right now.
That, in theory. But that also means that you have no opportunity to course correct once the first one drops. Minor.
It's 98 days. It's
Minor.
98 days away, or let's say they started working 2 months. That's pre-production. That's like art. That's, you know, if the thing comes out and everyone's like, I fucking hate this system, or I hate the way this thing is treated, especially how long this thing's in development, they'll have plenty of time to fucking fix that.
Some of these side-by-side screenshots are...
It's hilarious.
Well, there's that one. There's that. There's also just some very nice environmental shots and things like that.
Yeah.
But yes, that is happening.
Want Reno and Cloud to kiss.
Okay.
Don't you think that would be good to happen?
No, because then Rude would be alone.
He can watch.
No, that's not cool.
Eh.
Reno and Rude for life.
No, it's not cool. It's rude, in fact.
Fuck you. You're spoiling my shit.
I hate myself.
You should.
Oh, it was terrible. Oh.
There was a... Yeah, whatever. Got that one. And then here's one that is definitely not for you at all.
It's
but
all right.
This is for some folks out there who know what this is.
All right. Hey, some folks. It's your time to shine.
You familiar with the MAXX?
No.
The MAXX?
I just said no.
Okay, just
I'm aggressive now because I don't know what it is, and that makes me scared.
it's a comic book.
Oh.
It was then turned into a cartoon on MTV's Oddities.
Uh-huh.
I liked it back in the day quite a bit. And it is one of those weird ones that is like, is this a superhero thing? And then it's like, it's kind of anti-superhero. Like, most of these comics are dealing with a guy that is fucking depressed half the time.
Good.
And has to go through all kinds of real-life bullshit. And there's just random, wanton, crazy violence and no, it's wild. But you're basically dealing with a dude that's kind of insane.
Good.
As your superhero. And it's great. It's very cool. I love the MAXX. It turns out that Channing Tatum is apparently attached with Roy Lee developing an adaptation of the MAXX. And boy, do I not know what that would look like nowadays. Because it was already super out of its element when it was in, you know?
Yeah.
The MAXX is weird. It's like goofy and just like not something that you would want to go digging out of a basement to adapt, but here we are. And Channing Tatum of all people. He's homeless, by the way. That's true. He lives in a box.
Wait, Channing Tatum is actually homeless?
Channing Tatum is homeless.
But he's a big Hollywood actor.
You heard it here first.
How? How does that happen?
The MAXX,
I'm a fuck up and I'm
the
not
MAXX
homeless.
is this homeless fucking weirdo.
Oh, the character's homeless.
And he's obsessed with this.
I thought you were saying that.
He's obsessed with this girl, Julie, and he's like trying to protect her because.
Well, this sounds like shit. This sounds like shit.
It's weird to describe. It's great though. It's great. It's hard to describe, but it's great.
You fucking sold me.
It's like
what a great argument.
It's like the weird shit with like you know how the Tick is like super weird?
Oh, the Tick's awesome.
It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that a bit, but nowhere, but not as happy-go-lucky.
All right.
And he's got these big claws, and they're like "fuck you" fingers, kind of.
Wooly,
Yep.
I have some breaking news for you.
What's that?
I am starting to believe that the Stadia Works Twitter account is real due to the following information. Do you remember earlier in the podcast I said that I followed it and then it was at 753?
Mm-hmm.
It is now at 785. Mm-hmm. And there has been a tweet as of 3 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
Quote, "My Twitter is blowing up and I'm getting called a Stadia fanboy. I fucking love it. No waiting and no downloads, just right into the game. Woo." Laughing emoji. With a screenshot of their Twitter number at 784.
Well, Stadia Works, you're welcome.
Be kind and enjoy this Twitter account.
Please enjoy the gift that has been bestowed upon you and use it responsibly. Yeah, you can clip that and send it to me.
I legitimately love this Twitter account.
It's fantastic.
Without irony.
What did I say? I screenshotted it and I said, I'm so fucking in.
I'm in on this.
What do the kids say nowadays? I'm here for this.
I think the kids say that things are lit.
I'm here for this.
Is that still a thing that the kids say?
I am so here. I'm here for this.
This
like Lizzo's purse.
This Twitter account is not extra.
It's OD.
It's
OD. That's what it is.
I don't know what.
Don't get it twisted.
Wooly, my life is things getting twisted. My strands are twisted.
We got some letters.
Hey, letter time. If you want to send an email to us about the nature of your strand and or your experience with the Google Stadia, hit us up at castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com.
I don't know. I don't really want to hear it.
All right. Well, I'll send it anyway. Castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com.
You guys see the Baz in Shovel Knight Showdown?
I thought you were going to say Pedal Fighter. Or what's that game?
No, yeah, but there was Pedal Crash, which made it.
That got funded in a second.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
But no, I'm talking about the Baz in the new Shovel Knight game, as well as the Baz being sculpted into the board game.
Yes.
The Baz Everywhere system continues. Thank you, everybody, for your continued patronage
of the Baz.
Yes.
The man without a game.
The man with more games than fucking most characters out there, quite frankly.
Is Baz bigger than Metal Gear?
The Baz has been in more games than most video game characters.
That's right.
He's not going to dethrone like Sonic or Mario anytime soon. But he is racing behind Shovel Knight, who is his own
main character in that game.
You know, so
yeah,
there's that.
Shovel Knight should be honored to have Baz in his game.
Okay, we got one coming in here. This one's from MAXX. Says, "Hey, Wolves and Pat, I saw a thing on Twitter going around about your favorite games every year for a decade, and I tried my hand at it. I came up on November 2012, and I saw a big release date for a bunch of things, and it reminded me that I went to a midnight release at GameStop for PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. I was the only person there for that game, as everyone else was there for the release of Borderlands 2. While the game was mediocre,
those came out at the same time.
I don't regret it getting it over Borderlands. So my question is, have you ever had a midnight release or movie showing that turned out to not live up to your expectations?"
I went to a Ultimate Marvel 3 midnight release that definitely dashed my expectations for the evening.
Did it?
It did. My expectations were that I was going to pick up a game.
And what happened?
Something very different.
Interesting.
The creation of a legend, might one say.
Interesting. Fascinating, that. I think I went to the midnight release of The Matrix Reloaded to bring it back up this episode.
Oh,
I think I was in line for that because who the fuck wouldn't be in line for the sequel to The Matrix?
that's right.
It's the one that comes to mind at the moment.
I saw a midnight showing of Revenge of the Sith, and many friends of mine, we all went to the same like giant theater. I think you were there as well, Wooly.
Revenge of the Sith?
Revenge of the Sith, because one of the adjacent theaters had the projector catch on fire, and like no one got to see the movie.
I don't think I was there.
And they were the winners.
I don't think I was there.
Because it was like way up north, like in like in
No,
Laval.
I'm pretty sure I went to see Star Wars stuff on opening days, but not like midnight.
Yeah.
Though I did have to spend hours in line to go see the re-releases. I remember the re-releases. The re-release of A New Hope, I was in line for like pretty much an entire day to get into that. But
I was there for the morning release alongside 10 other people for the Wii U.
yeah, I was in line for the Wii, but I didn't end up regretting that.
Yeah, I did the Wii, and that was... Not only did I not regret that, but that was an experience that I cherished, because that was me standing outside all night on I think I had a folding chair with me in the cold in November in front of the Future Shop that no longer exists on the corner of Atwater and St. Catherine, dead center of the city, across from that hobo park. And it was fucking freezing, and there were a shit ton of people there. I remember having a friend of mine, it was Fuggins, my friend Fuggins, took the spot in line and was like, I'm like, hold this, I'm going to do something. And I had already spoken with the staff the day before and knew how many units they had. I think they had 250 units. And I went up and down the line, and even though I had showed up at 6 p.m. the night before, I was 117th in line. And I went down the list, and I was like, and I hit number 250. And I said, bro. And I was like talking to the line, because there was a huge fucking line. Okay, I spoke to the guy. I'm way up there, so I'm not trying to fuck with you guys. But I spoke to the guy. There probably aren't enough for everybody past this point. You might want to try the Best Buy at Angrignon. You might want to try, and I... And then... at fucking 7 o'clock, an hour before it opened, the fucking boomers showed up in their cars. This wave of boomers, pre-boomer boomers, showed up. This massive crowd, must have been 1,000 of them. And they all tried to do the same thing. They all tried to, the door that they saw like 400 people sitting next to. And the door didn't open. And then everyone in the crowd went, yo, what the fuck? And they went, oh. And someone walked up to them. I did it to a couple people. The guys near the front did it to a couple people. Everyone got their turn. Like, this line has been here all night. Get in the back. And not one of them actually got in a line. They all stood in a new crowd, like to the left side, where the SAQ is now,
hoping for the best.
We'll just go in, and not even a third of the people in the real line got a fucking Wii. And those people had their arms crossed, and they're all in their 40s. And they're all in their 50s. I can't believe these fucking
My
nerds.
kid deserves it. Your kid doesn't. You're not a parent. You don't understand.
And it's like, you bitch. I am so tired. And it's a line that is very tired, because there's no sleeping in that line when it's that cold.
Definitely not. That was a very different experience.
Yeah, because like,
for me,
when you're in that line and you're like, I hope one of them tries to cut. I want to see it. I want to see this descend into degeneracy.
I mean, to be fair, that's kind of what's happening with the Popeyes chicken sandwiches.
Yeah.
Someone just says, fuck it, I'm going for it.
And then they get stabbed.
And then death. That's the end of
You
your
hear
life.
about the Frozen 2 thing?
I did hear about the Frozen 2 child with a weapon.
Hundreds of teenagers, including dozens with machetes.
Machetes.
Yeah. Paige pointed out to me that Frozen 2 has now caused more real violence than Joker, the movie that everyone was afraid was going to cause violence.
Absolutely. Joker, no problem.
Frozen 2, machetes. Joker,
13-year-olds with machetes, mind you.
Joker, weed. And, you know, like, dumbasses in face paint.
So, enjoy that.
Disney stands scarier than Joker stands.
For me, I was waiting in Burlington, Vermont at the Walmart.
Wow.
That was like we had the overnight thing set up in those.
Oh yeah, you were in B-Town when that
I was
happened.
in B-Town when it happened, and someone recently actually contacted me and went, "Hey, yo, I was one of the guys you met in that line." I'm like, "That's fucking crazy, dude." We were there. We were all sitting. There was maybe 30 of us, and I want to say that there was these two girls that were huge marks for FF7.
Yeah.
And they had their Advent Children fucking little screen, and they were playing Advent Children, and so everybody was just kind of gathered around watching some fucking Advent Children.
Yeah, why not?
And that was it.
That's so much time to kill.
We were doing Advent Children, and I want to say we were street passing.
Yeah?
You know, or whatever the equivalent was that you would do with your DS at the time.
Nah, 3DS was that, wasn't it?
Yeah, not 3DS.
Oh, I'm crazy.
Not 3DS, no. But we were doing DS stuff with each other.
You know what the stupidest...
And that was it.
You know what the stupidest thing is?
Everyone got a piece of paper.
With the Wii U and with the PS4, I pre-ordered it, and I walked up the morning of or the night of, and I waited in line for like an hour, and then I picked it up, and I got it, right? And it was laughably easy. In fact, I got a second PS4 because just in case for work purposes, but I just gave it to Fuckins, and he paid me back, right? Off Amazon, and it showed up the day of, right? And all I can think of when this process was easy was that it should have, like, I was nostalgic for how fucked up it used to be to buy a console day one. Like, because there was this weird fucking tribal element of the people who have it the first couple weeks fucking bled for it.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah,
they suffered for it in the cold, and I only want to talk to people crazy enough to do it.
And how much did you enjoy your Wii bowling?
Incredibly.
And your Wii baseball?
They were elevated dramatically.
Like, it's just to think that you're suffering to take home fucking Wii tennis.
Well, everyone played Twilight Princess on it.
Yeah, but, you know, like, it just...
Also, Wii bowling is the shit.
Sure.
Wii bowling was awesome.
No, I know, but like 12 hours in the freezing fuck cold.
Well, I'm glad I didn't fucking wait 12 hours in the freezing fuck cold to bring home Killzone Shadow, whatever the fuck it was, on the PlayStation 4.
Or what was it called? What was the Red Steel?
Cool.
Red Steel.
Yeah, Twilight Princess was available on the release, guys. It was a launch title.
GameCube, though.
Yeah, whatever. That GameCube release was not well released. They did not release very many of those.
Here we go. We got one coming in from Shy Ranger. Says, "Dear Castle Cuddly Beast, anytime Animal Crossing comes up, the overall response I get from you guys is I don't get it. I thought I'd personally say why I'm into it. If you still don't get it, that's fine, but I wanted to send this anyway since I finally put the words for myself. Since I finally put it into words for myself too. Fact is, I get some enjoyment out of mundane tasks. It can be very chill and comforting. In the real world, like most things, it fucks up, makes it depressing, and if you enjoy something, sometimes people will try to take advantage of that and ruin it for you, like work. So to be able to do mundane tasks in an escapist environment allows me to enjoy it without any problem. And why Animal Crossing in particular? Well, I prefer that style, colors, and visuals. Also, despite what jokes people make about Tom Nook being corrupt and cruel, the game constantly goes out of its way to say, nah, take your time, be comfortable, which helps boost it for me.
Tom Nook gives you a fucking interest-free loan on a house. That's okay.
In conclusion, real life is fake as fuck. Fake life is way better, at least some of the time.
So, I've made some fun comments about Animal Crossing and that I don't get it.
Okay.
I've said that it is for, it is a fucking dumb bitch simulator or some things. Why are you just going in a circle? Oh, you're string. I thought you saw me getting ready to talk and just started to pace. Okay, but I will say that he's leaving after playing a bunch of Death Stranding and building all that infrastructure and getting some satisfaction out of things being placed just so here and there. I have a smidgen of the understanding of the appeal. I still don't get it because I don't see a gameplay benefit to ordering your house just so. But I do understand the satisfaction of setting things up in just this nice way so that everything... I just don't find enough extrinsic goals in Animal Crossing. Everything's intrinsic. You do it because you enjoy the activity. There aren't enough long-term goals other than get a bigger house or get more Super Nintendo cartridges for the thing or whatever. So I feel like a glimmer of it, but I cannot grasp
The
it.
last time I latched onto anything like that was the Game Boy version of Harvest Moon.
Mm-hmm.
And I got it then, right? I was stuck in Oakwood, Alabama. I had nothing but really shitty AOL internet on my brother's laptop, and it was very, very dry and boring. Nowhere to go. I was on a church college campus, and I was hanging out there for, I don't know, must have been a week or two. I don't know how long it was, but yeah, between eating fucking veggie burgers and sitting in on like extra Bible study sermon type classes that I didn't really sign up for, but I forgot why I was even down there.
Yeah, so
this
whole email, who gives a shit now? Why the fuck were you in Alabama for a week playing Harvest Moon?
I was down there. He asked me to come down.
Wait, who asked you?
My brother.
Okay, see, because that sounded scary right away.
My half brother asked me to come down while he was doing his studies. And I forget what was happening because I feel like nothing.
Is it a haze?
No,
Is it all murky and confusing?
I don't think anything was happening in particular. I think he just wanted me to just like hang out.
Yeah.
And I think he might have wanted me to just kind of like check out the campus and like as a possibility of like, hey, maybe you want to come here after high school,
Okay,
or something. You know, like maybe if you feel like going to a Christian college,
all right,
this is a place you could consider. And I was like, I'm not at all going to consider that, but I'll come hang out, I guess. Haven't seen you in a bit. So I think I just spent time chilling out with him for like a week or two.
Well, he didn't accidentally join a cult. He was born into it. Come on, guys. Get with it.
You don't choose. You fucking get handed that shit.
Yeah.
That's what I rolled. What do you want me to do?
Yeah. Part of character creation.
So yeah, I was just there, and the only thing I had was like a couple of hastily packed like fucking games, and one of them was Game Boy Harvest Moon, and so I played the shit out of Harvest Moon for that brief period of my life, and then I played it a bit more when I got back home afterwards because I was like, yeah, this is how you pass the time.
Yeah,
you collect your crops, you go see your animals. You field and you tend to it, and then
that's why Stardew Valley is really popular.
Yeah, and you can lay it out and however makes you feel comfortable, but never again after that.
Yeah,
and it's also why I remember when like the craze that was Viva Pinata flew through the office.
Yeah,
Viva Pinata grabbed a lot of people by the fucking balls, and I just never got in. I couldn't do it.
You know what I'm thinking of? Because even though like Animal Crossing and Death Stranding, in terms of like building and making things, like there are some not superficial similarities.
Yep.
But the biggest change is that Death Stranding is in service to travel and rucking.
Rucking is
where
yes.
I would describe Harvest Moon and Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing as all about being about homesteading. It's about taking a patch of fucking dirt and turning it into something valuable, which homesteading appeals to me not at all. but ruckin' and or truckin' does.
But what about games with big open worlds that you find boring?
Which ones specifically? Like
Phantom Pain.
Man, there ain't nothing there. There ain't nothing.
Nothing there. So what about that?
Fuck it.
Sometimes it's not always good.
No.
Yeah, man. Anyway, I don't know. It's probably why I probably honestly, if I ever sat down to play Minecraft, like, I mean, somewhere inside of me, the little like create a character Lego builder guy would enjoy it for a bit.
Yeah.
But then there would come a point where I'd be like, okay, I'm done and never again.
Yeah.
Um,
Like Minecraft doesn't appeal to me because like I was the kid when I had Legos. I would look at the instructions and I would build the Lego perfectly, exactly as it appeared on the box, and then I would place it down and go, good.
Oh yeah, no.
I'm done.
No. I had custom fun.
It drove my fucking siblings crazy.
We had
because they wanted to build their own shit.
Yeah.
And they'd go to
a color coordinator.
They'd go to take apart my spaceship. I'm like, no, I built. It's perfect. Leave it alone.
But those pieces are the only pieces, and we need
Like,
those pieces.
The Lego movie sucks because the villain is right.
Did you have lingo for your pieces?
No.
You didn't describe how did you like look for a piece and communicate that you needed it?
I looked for it myself.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want my brother and sister help me because
Okay.
they would fuck it up by changing things.
So me and my brother would play Lego together, and you had to have language for that. So if I wanted a pushed up 6-dotted,
yeah,
you'd find that fucking pushed up 6-dotted,
no, don't touch my Lego pieces.
or a flat 2-dotted,
Don't touch my Lego pieces.
or if you had a pushed up 2-dotted bendy, then
Yeah.
you could take that pushed up
It
2-dotted bendy.
led to a lot of tension because my sister is much older than I am. She's 8 years older. My brother's 4 years older, and they would when I was not around because I was a child and they were much older children. They would take shit apart and build their own castles and shit. I would get so fucking pissed because they took apart my fucking perfect truck or whatever that I would smash their shit to pieces to get my pieces back and then rebuild my perfect thing.
See, you have the sensibilities of an only child, except you're not an only child.
Well, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
My brother and sister, my half brother and sister.
Yeah.
And at various points in my life, they either live with me all the time, or they went and lived with their mom all the time, or they split half and half, or weekends, or this week on, this week off, or whatever. Because we lived very close to their mom. So yes, sometimes I was an only child. Other times I was not an only child.
And thus, when it came time to not be an only child and interact with other people, you instead behaved like a fucking psychopath.
No, dealt great with my sister.
Okay.
Because she wasn't scum.
Okay. Well,
In fact, my sister was great. I love my sister.
yeah.
She did not sell my Sega Saturn for weed.
Well, when we were younger, we would play Legos together, and it was fun.
Ooh, I'm getting really upset. Oh,
Yeah, you
okay.
are. Legos was fun. I remember when we watched Exo Squad and we didn't have the toys yet, so we built Lego versions of the toys.
That's cool.
And they were actually pretty decent because you could do some decent shit. You could use the top of the spaceship dome and put it as the front of the body, and then put a pushed up 2-dotted bendy as the thing that lets you open it up. But what always sucked is that the Lego men were too small to fit
They're really small.
the coolness of the giant robot we made. So then you would just like have to fucking deal with the fact that you had no decent sized people. Yeah. Well, I wanted to make JT Marsh and I couldn't. Let's take one quick here from Nicholas. Says, "Hey gang, what do you think makes a great super move in a fighting game?" This is a pretty straightforward question.
Blue trails helps.
Blue trails always helps. The darker the blue, the stronger it is until it goes red. And to me, in one word, rhythm.
Yep.
There's a rhythm to the hits.
Ba 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 ba.
Right? Which is why I always felt two things that bothered me in Third Strike were Ken's Shippujin Raikyaku.
Didn't have a kick at the end.
Yep. Because he could like da 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 da. and then you just fall.
Didn't he have one in fucking
and then
Second Impact?
In Marvel, they added the da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
And you're like, yeah, that's good.
Right? And same thing for Yang. He would do the rolling kick, and like it'd be like rolling. He would roll and hit you and go da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. And you're waiting for and then there's no final
You
impact.
want to see a fucking
right?
incredible series of super moves and all the good stuff that goes into super moves, go look at almost every single version in a mainline Street Fighter of the final Atomic Buster.
Sure.
Particularly, I think my
Except
favorite...
for the last one.
I think except for the last one. I think my favorite is like Alpha, where it's final Atomic Buster! And then the big explosion.
Boom,
And then
boom, toss, catch, boom.
and then the bounce
Right.
off
Yeah.
is like a little denouement.
I'm just keeping it just to the rhythm of the hits, right? Chun-Li, brr, brr, ba, right? Shin, Shoryuken, ba, 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 ba.
Yeah.
Right?
So I like to compare the final Atomic Buster from Alpha 3 to the rolling suplex that Laura does, in which there's a spin and then it ends with like a slide, and it's got no rhythm. Like, it's a cool move.
Yep.
But it just doesn't have it.
And then Ultras fixed a lot of that too, where they made sure they were all rhythmic. So like Dudley lands Rolling Thunder, and you get that da 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 da. You know, you always have to have that rhythm to the hit. And
Shout out to Vanessa with her little bob and weave at before the big hit.
Yes. KOF lands it all the time.
Yeah, KOF's
right? Good. Whether it's Kim Kapuan or
Iori or anybody.
like you know, like a multi-hit.
So have a rhythm up to a big finale is the easiest. Don't let it just fall off.
A couple of big hits also works just fine.
Rhythm is so important to a fighting game super that Ganejin, a Street Fighter 3 Third Strike super, in which is just an auto combo, not auto combo, but it's an extra combo system for what's his name, the twin, fucking Yun, whatever. That people in the crowd created a rhythm for it.
Yeah.
And when everybody knew it was the last hit.
Yeah.
Hey, like
K-Dash, toss the glasses. But
stops,
boom,
pulls back, big hit.
Yep.
Always finish strong.
Clark.
Yeah. And then throws it up, and I think it's the 98 or 2001 where he goes upside down.
Yeah. 2003.
The dumbest looking throw ever.
But it's on rhythm.
Yeah.
It's on rhythm. You got to have a rhythm to it. Makoto.
Yeah.
Seishu Sengo Danzuki. Right?
One big punch.
Bam.
Bam. Yeah, there it is. Rhythm.
That's what makes it feel good versus bad. And it doesn't have to be complicated, because literally Deadly Double combination is like just oof. But it happens with impact.
Yeah.
You know?
If it doesn't have rhythm, no matter how many effects you throw on it, it'll feel weak.
Yes, and everyone is asking about Galactica Impact, Galactica Phantom. It
is the rhythm of one note.
It is the rhythm of exactly. it is the sound of one hand clapping. It is the instant, bam, just the one shot.
It is actually it has a rhythm, but it's more like a melody in which it is a rising tension.
The build up is not the move itself. The build up is before the move.
Yeah.
Galactica Phantom.
That's why there's a version of Galactic Phantom that's just a regular special move that sucks.
Yep.
In terms of visual impact.
Yep. But there's the times where he, instead of just shouting out the move name, he just yells.
Yeah.
And that's always fantastic.
That's good. Yeah.
So that's satisfying as well. But when you're not doing that move and you're doing, say, his Batty Batty Vulcan Punch.
Yeah.
Where like he tackles you to the ground, and on the ground it's like hit.
And then one big one.
Bam. So good shit. Killer Instinct is 100% about the rhythm as well. Yeah, a lot of those combos. Da 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 da. Like three, normal, special move.
Doesn't have to be musical. It just has to have like a designated rhythm that you can remember and internalize. Like the basic, like even as something as simple as like, why the rim shot is popular in comedy decades later is because it's got a rhythm. But bump, clap, or symbol or whatever. It works. Makes you remember it. It feels good.
And even when you do it manually, like Geese or Rock Howard doing Deadly Rave,
It's still got a rhythm.
Deadly, da 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 da. You know, like you have a 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4 5. Yeah. All right.
Podcast is over now. If you want to check out Wooly, where would you check out the Wooly?
Wooly Versus on Twitch, Wooly Versus on YouTube, Wooly Wolves on Twitter, and you know the deal.
All right, I'm going to be streaming this week. I'm going to be Death Stranding and also finishing up Outer Worlds. Going to be over at twitch.tv/angriestpat. I also guest star occasionally over on twitch.tv/peachsaliva, who might be streaming Dead by Daylight tonight. That'd be Monday night, not Tuesday if you're reading it Tuesday. But yeah, good stuff.
Wonderful. I'm so
hungry right now.
Yeah, I'm pretty starving too. I'm going to yes, I'm going to confirm a few things, but I think starting this week, once I fucking tend to some bullshit such as audio setup foibles and whatnot, I think I can announce like a week schedule for streams that are going to be coming up.
The LP streaming thing?
LP streams, regular streams, all that stuff.
Wooly, hey. So part of that will be Death Stranding, obviously.
Yes.
I'm fascinated. I'm going to hop in on that and just take a look at what it's like to see somebody else do it.
Sure.
And if at any point you run into trouble, you feel free to text or Twitter message me, as I am, as everyone now knows, the world's most perfect, best Death Stranding player.
According to Kojima Productions.
That's canon. You can't dispute that. You literally can't dispute it.
Yep. So look forward to that on my Twitter. And if you didn't catch it, I put out a what I called it the State of the Channel 2019.
Yep.
Over on Wooly Versus.
You know what my favorite part about that video is?
What?
You have a giant grin on the preview picture.
Yep.
Which is uncharacteristic of you in terms of your resting face.
Sure.
Because if it was anything other than that,
yes,
people would shit their asses.
And yet somehow they still ass shitted.
Oh my God, Wooly's smiling. Does that mean he's going to quit?
I'm like, what more? Like, it is a giant happy, hey, here's what's going on, everybody.
To be fair, Wooly, we are about 2 weeks from the anniversary.
But I know, but it's like look at the context.
No, you could put like a fucking glass of wine and like the like sparkles and shit.
The PTSD is strong, man. I don't know what to tell you. I'm literally like, I'm like, let me just do this because who knows? It might be a fun thing to do every year when we try to figure out what's going on.
So you got to do it consistently so that people don't have the fear.
But the fucking just like, and it's like, no, look, happy.
Yeah, we're doing more stuff. Yeah,
big happy.
Yeah. Calm down, everyone.
Please,
everyone should try and relax.
Please
and have a good week.
All right.
Bye, everybody.